this, and I'll give you guys a chance. Either one of you, I will bet you $100, and we'll see. I'll give you a 6.5-point spread. Fair?
Dude, no, I'm not playing anybody that's played it. I am not good at it.
I
was struggling with my son, who's not played. My son is literally, I shouldn't say literally, because he's played a couple of games against like his cousin and stuff like that. That's got a PS5, but like sitting there actually playing, yeah, no, I beat my son, but that's it. He's gonna. I bet when I come home today, I bet he smokes me when we play our game today. I bet he's been playing it all day.
They learn quicker. When you're a kid, you learn quicker. And by the way,
5 hours ago,
Jason, you know what getting older is like? I got for we call it power gifts. My power gift this year was a new suitcase, and that was the happiest I've ever been. Like, I think getting a new suitcase equates to a kid getting a PS5, because I opened that new suitcase, and that was that you're like a kid on Christmas. You're like you're a sturdy person, and you see cake. Like, I was so thrilled, Jason.
A sturdy person that sees cake.
That's like me. I love cake, man.
I've never heard that before.
I came up with it on the spot, as you could tell. Yeah, but
make me cough, man.
I saw that present, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what getting older is, though, because I have never been so excited. It's a suitcase, and I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait to take it to the Super Bowl. Like that's when you know you're getting older.
What does Travis get Taylor Swift for Christmas? What could you possibly get her that would be meaningful?
You go to Etsy and get one of those customized mugs with their faces on it, and it's like their first date, like their first picture, and you put it on that. It's sentimental. You got to go sentimental with it.
Isn't that? But think about that, though. You know how much work Travis, and good for him if he does, but you know how much work he has to put in to get a gift that's meaningful for her? Like, you can't just be like, honey, I just bought you a $300 Coach bag. Oh, you love me. That's right. Damn right. Just got you a $300. I didn't do that. I'm just saying as an example.
Wow, Jason.
But like, she could buy Coach if she wanted to. Like,
or
getting
private,
her
first
something.
class even.
That's a good point. Yeah, getting her something like that would be like, oh, it's the thought that counts. But she can go and buy the store. So like, I have no idea what you would have to come up with like these sentimental, romantic, like create something yourself to give to them, because nothing materialistic would be anything that would be meaningful, right? Like, they gave Chris Jones and his wife like a $20,000 bottle of wine.
Wow.
As a Christmas gift. But like, Chris Jones can also go and buy that if he wanted to. He's got $100 million too. But that's the type of gift that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce give Chris Jones and his family, is $20,000 bottle of wine. But what could you possibly get her if you're
I'm telling you, it's you get the sentimental. You get the picture of like your first picture together. You put it on a mug or a blanket.
That's right.
And you give it to her, something like that. I gave one of those to my mom one time, and she loved it. Right?
See,
it's a picture of me when I was just a tyke. So maybe Travis Kelce gives the same mug, a picture of me when I was a kid, to Taylor Swift, and she's just like, who the bleep is this guy?
Yeah. And see, you can already tell our conversation here the day after Christmas is so much different and enjoyable and lighthearted than what it was a year ago at this time, Sterling. A year ago at this time, man, it was the sky is falling, fire people, what the hell is going on? The dynasty is over. Anybody that thinks that this team can make any move in the playoffs is foolish. They're fooling themselves. This team is toast. They're going to have to go on the road. They can't score. They just lost to the Raiders. They got embarrassed at home. They can't do much. What's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? What the heck's going on with this team? Defensively, not good enough, probably. Offensively, clearly not good enough. They're going to have to go and win games by a score of like 17-10. They did. You got to go and win games like that to be able to go to the Super Bowl. And now you got to go to like Baltimore and Buffalo and places. You're screwed. You're toast. This team is done. And I was joking with some of the fellows around here when I got here, and they're like, "Man, this Chiefs team is amazing." I said, "Yeah, remember a year ago when we were talking about? You had me on the day after Christmas, and we talked about what was wrong with the Chiefs and everything going on. And Mahomes had played maybe his worst game I had ever seen him play against the Raiders, and it was just brutal and awful. And they lost that game." I said, "They're 21-1 since then." 20. It even took me back to do the math. I'm like, well, they're 15-1, and then they won the last two games after that, so it'd make them 17, and then they had to win 4 games, so 20. Yeah, they're 20-1 since the December 26th show that we did this time last year. That is unprecedented, unheard of, and yet here we are, a year later, This team has played 22 games, and they have fallen short one time. One time. And Sterling, maybe, and I'm saying a maybe with like quotations around it, italics underlined, maybe they've earned a little bit more respect the last 2 weeks.
Just maybe.
Maybe. I'm not saying they have. Maybe they have.
Well, I think they've figured a lot of things out. Obviously, it culminates with Hollywood Brown getting back at the offense, starting to open up. And I think defensively, you saw it too with Charles Omenihu coming back. No Chris Jones in this one, yet they were still able to get after Russell Wilson. They're trending the right way. Again, Spagnuolo, yet again, defense is starting to peak at the end of the season at the right time. Offensively, they figured some things out with maybe that means Joe Tooney is now your left tackle for the rest of the season.
I want to get into that.
You know, it was funny. I was so confident heading into this game. Dylan and I did a whole bold take prediction thing before the game. And I said the Chiefs are going to win by double digits. I don't think it's going to be close. And they won by 19. I said 10. I was like, yeah, double digits, 10 points. They won by 19.
They had the ball. They could have won by more. I mean, come on. They could have gotten to 30. I mean, if it wasn't for a missed extra point and then going for 2.
Well, no, I think now they're doing that on purpose because they want to get the no team to score 30. Because if you saw that graphic, it was like the Patriots and 2 other teams with a combined 7 wins, and it's the Chiefs with 15. Yes, they're just well coached. They do the little things, and again, this is what's scary for the NFL. How often was it the case of, they're getting calls? They clearly didn't get calls in this game. Mm-hmm. Patrick's not him.
Yes, they did.
Patrick.
They did.
Patrick's not himself. Okay, he's coming into his own now. Like, all the issues that were there have seemingly been solved, and that is terrifying for the rest of the NFL because what else
100%.
is the excuse now?
100%. I am absolutely. That was my takeaway too. Is like. These last 3 weeks, this team won by 14, they won by 8, and they won by 19 in 11 days with 2 of those on the road. In the last 3 weeks, a team that couldn't win by double digits, a team that played the same game every week, and they haven't played the same game these last 3 weeks. It's certainly 2 of the 3 they haven't played the same game because they've covered the spread in all 3 games after going the stretch that we talked about with them not covering the spread for 6 or 7 straight games. They've covered the spread in all 3 of these games. They've turned the opposition over 10 times. They've got 13 sacks in these last 3 weeks, and they've won by almost double digits, almost 2 scores in each game, except for the Texans game where Kareem Hunt slid down at the 12-yard line, and they won by 8. They could have won by more. And again, like I mentioned a little bit before, Chiefs got the ball with 5 minutes to play in this game in the fourth quarter, handed it off 3 times and punted. If they wanted to, I'm guessing they could have probably gone down and put some points on the board because of how they played. This should have been a 30-point game, and I don't care if people keep talking about that they haven't got to 30, whatever, because the defense is limiting other teams to 18 points per game, the number 1 scoring defense. They're limiting teams to that. Since the Carolina Panthers scored 30 points, or 27 points, I should say, in the game when the Chiefs scored 30, I mean, if we're talking about the defense at that point and we're wondering what's going on and they can't get stops, they've given up 17, 17, 7, 19, and 10 since then. And the Chiefs haven't turned the ball over since the Buffalo Bills game. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have an interception since the Buffalo Bills game. Patrick Mahomes has 2 interceptions in his last 9 games and 15 touchdowns to go along with it. After the first 7, Sterling, he started off with 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. And the thing about Patrick Mahomes is these first 7 games that we talk about with 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, apparently the last 9 games people are just assuming he's playing the same way.
Yes.
Because, again, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and there's no conversation about him and how he's playing. It's that the Chiefs are getting lucky. The refs bail him out. It's all a defensive team. Patrick Mahomes is, not the same Patrick Mahomes that we've seen. All of these things and these narratives around the Chiefs, and all they do is just win. It's all they do is just win. And I think there is, while fighting the narrative, and I am as guilty of it as anybody, if not more. I present that out of the gates. Okay, I understand that. I can't help myself at times. Oddly enough, I have restrained myself a lot more over the last month or so. Contrary to what you would believe on Twitter, believe me, that's restrained. That is restrained me, not responding as often as I probably would have a year or 2 ago. But all of that being said, they just simply win. That's what they do. And whether somebody wants to call it luck or the referees or anything like that. These last 3 weeks are different. They are different than what we've seen, and this team is coming into its own. This team is playing good football. This team is playing good offensive football, and they just won 3 games in 11 days. And you know how tough that is? You got to be a well-coached team, because the Houston Texans responded quickly in a short week, and the Chiefs won. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, that are apparently a well-coached team, after playing on Saturday, no-showed that game. You know who showed up? The Kansas City Chiefs, playing their 3rd game in 11 days, just as the Pittsburgh Steelers were. But there was one team out there on the field that was ready to go and ready to play for 4 quarters, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs. And now they get an opportunity to take the game off against the Denver Broncos if they want to, rest a number of guys, get a mini bye, plus the bye week. You know, Travis Kelce, the first thing he said at the podium yesterday was what? Ow. And then he joked around and said, Merry Christmas, because they just finished 3 games in 11 days. And I do think ow is indicative of how this team is feeling and why, Sterling, it was so imperative for them to find a way to get the 1 seed, whether they're playing at Arrowhead, another stadium, or in Egypt. It doesn't matter to me as much as it mattered of them not playing on the wild card weekend. And yesterday they won a playoff game. They won a playoff game yesterday. By winning that game, they are in the divisional round. They are the only team in the AFC that has won a game already in wild card weekend.
That's a good call and great way of putting it. Again, if you're a cynical person, you could say, well, do you want to have them sit 23 days off?
23 or 24.
Yeah, 23
depending
or 20,
on when they put them.
Yeah, depending on where they. So, yeah, do you treat Week 18 like a preseason game? How do you operate that and try and keep your everyone fresh while also on top of things in game action, game shape? I think for sure Patrick sits. I think Chris Jones sits. I think Travis Kelce sits. Maybe Hollywood Brown. We'll see. You know, there's some starters who I think might get a little bit of run Week 18. But you're right. This was imperative for this team, a team with a Week 6 bye. They understood what this meant. You heard Andy Reid after the game dressed up like Santa Claus, and he talked about, what is your present? What is your present?
Bye week, baby.
It's a bye week. I mean, like, again, they knew, they understood going into this game. You saw them come out quick. You saw them come out offense, defense. Special teams was a little bit of a question mark in this one. But again,
we'll talk about that.
they knew what was at stake. They also understood, you don't hear about it all the time, but Patrick specifically brought up the embarrassing way that last Christmas went. So for me, the easiest bet of the season was Chiefs covering the spread. I go, the Chiefs are trying to make a point in this game, and they sure made a point in this one.
Yep. 913-381-0810. I want to get to some texts that are coming in as well. A lot of texts coming in. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810 text line. Again, if you want to weigh in, we've got open phone lines the first 2 hours up until noon, when we will talk with Matt Lane. 1 o'clock, we will play some sports or leisure as well. I got more Christmas names and some or holiday names, whatever you want to call it, and some NFL stuff as well. And then we'll see what Sterling has over on the leisure side. But 913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-912-4810. Want to get into some of the texts that are coming in as well. Hope everybody enjoyed their Christmas and will enjoy Hanukkah for the next 8 days. We'll take a time out, and boy, do I want to talk about Joe Tooney. I want to talk about Joe Bot Tooney, who is a robot, but he's our Joe Bot, is what he is. 913-381-0810. We'll take a time out. We'll come back, and we will talk about the Chiefs' left tackle. Warzone next.
All it was.
4810 is the text line to join us, 913-912-4810. Text line to be a part of the show. Text says, worst 21-1 team of all time. That's true. Yep, that's absolutely right.
What did the Dolphins do after they had the undefeated season? Did they go 7-1? I guess what would that be?
Yeah,
no, because it would have been 4-1 to start the next year.
Not sure. Yeah, not sure. But yeah, 21-1 is pretty good. Text says, just to reiterate, Mahomes is 15-1 and still behind Burrow in MVP odds. And even more crazy, he isn't even being considered. Yeah, nobody's going to consider Mahomes because of the first 8 games of the season, first 7 games of the season, 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And the narrative out there is that the Chiefs keep getting lucky or they have the refs on their side. My brother-in-law, big Bengals fan, and my son is into football cards, and so he got some in his stocking from Nanny and Poppy, and so we were opening up some football cards, and my brother-in-law, who was joking, he's teasing my son, and my son's opening up the cards, and he goes, "Oh, my favorite referee," to my son. And he's like, I'm joking. But I think there was a little bit of seriousness in there as well. But,
sure,
that's the narrative. So, of course, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to get a lot of respect from that because his numbers aren't crazy and astronomical like they are with Josh Allen and certainly Lamar Jackson, what he's doing that's trying to win, his third MVP and back-to-back MVPs for Lamar. But I think Josh Allen wins it this year because this is the year where it's the Josh Allen hasn't won an MVP year.
Sure.
That's what it is. Even if Lamar goes crazy the next couple of weeks and Josh Allen is just regular, which regular Josh Allen is still pretty damn good. If Josh Allen is just regular, it's going to be Josh Allen. Yes, that's right. Good for him, too. Yeah. It'll be the Josh Allen hasn't won an MVP yet MVP. And we'll see what happens. Lamar's already won a couple. So 913-912-4810. Text says, if people don't believe the Chiefs just want to get through the regular season, should be believers. When they need to win, they do and will. Unbelievable organization. This is the golden era of Chiefs football. Enjoy the ride. Oh, yeah, this is the good old days. We are in the middle of the good old days. And there will come a time when the Chiefs are picking in the top 10 again. I don't know when. I'm not sure when. I can't predict that. But there will be a time in the Chiefs organization, in the lifespan of the NFL, that the Chiefs will pick in the top 10, and number 15 will be, introduced at halftime and waving to the crowd in civilian clothes. I don't want to, live that reality yet, and we got a long time before that, but these are the good old days right now. We're going to be talking about these days with our kids and grandkids about what it was like to experience this run and live through it, and we're living through it right now, so just enjoy. And I think a lot of Chiefs fans are enjoying, maybe not as much because of fighting the narrative like I continue to fight the narrative, and so I should probably just enjoy it more.
Enjoy it, Jason. Just be like me. Just enjoy it, baby.
I know, man. You just live life. You're like Matthew McConaughey, just LIVIN, man.
Well, part of Matthew McConaughey, maybe not the other part when he's outside of the gas station.
What Sterling loves about high school girls. He gets older, they stay the same.
Maybe not
age.
that part.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Text says, we all knew when Pat had a high ankle sprain late in the season that everything was going to go according to plan. That's right. Yeah. That is exactly right. According to plan, at the beginning of the season, I can't imagine anywhere in the plans for the Chiefs was Joe Thuney playing left tackle on a consistent basis and starting and playing the entire game. Not filling in for a left tackle that went down or anything like that, but your left tackle as a starter. And it's been 3 games that he has played at the left tackle spot, Joe Thuney has. And it has been much different than what we have seen with this Chiefs team. It's been a different type of offense we've seen. And I don't see anything in here to where Andy Reid was specifically talking about Joe Thuney. And what he's done, or Patrick Mahomes talking about Joe Thuney and what he's done, but certainly we can talk about that. We discussed Sterling a couple of weeks ago, or 12 days ago, because it was 3 games in 11 days. So I guess it would have been 11 days ago then when they beat Cleveland. They played Cleveland, and they beat Cleveland. And what I felt was I had a difference of opinion on the PFF grade for Joe Thuney in that Cleveland game. And he had a 43.5 pass blocking grade. He gave up 10 pressures in that game. And maybe it was grading on a scale because he was going up against Myles Garrett. but I thought he did better than what the grade showed, especially for going out there and playing left tackle for the first time since, well, I guess he played a little left tackle in Week 18 last year when they rested guys, and he had to play left tackle against the Bengals a few years ago, and he did it in college. But he had a 43.5 pass rushing grade in that game against Cleveland. Against the Houston Texans, he had a 63.5 and gave up 4 pressures. Have you seen the PFF grades? They came out at like 915, 920.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a 68.5 against Pittsburgh. So 43.5 his first game at left tackle back, 63.5, 68.5, and 0 pressures allowed. I tweeted this out right before the show. Alex Highsmith, his season pass rush grade is 88.8. He had a 54.6 going up against Joe Thuney. That is the lowest pass rush grade he's had all year, and the fourth lowest pass rush grade that he has had since the beginning of the 2022 season. That is almost 3 full seasons of football for Alex Highsmith. The entire 2022 season, the entire 2023 season, 17 weeks of the 2024 season. That was the 4th lowest pass rush grade for Alex Highsmith. Against Danielle Hunter and the Houston Texans, Danielle Hunter had a 68.9. Not bad, but his season grade is 81.1. So he still held him, 13 points under his season average in pass rush for Danielle Hunter. That was game number 2. So he's gone from 43.5 to 63.5 to 68.5. 10 pressures to 4 pressures to 0 pressures. I know the Chiefs like DJ Humphries, and I know they like Joe Thuney at left guard, and they may feel like their best 5 is Joe Thuney at left guard and DJ Humphries at left tackle. But the last 3 weeks, and especially the last 2 weeks, Sterling, this offense has looked different. And you can make a strong case that the offense looks different because Joe Thuney is blocking his ass off over at left tackle. Mahomes trusts the offensive line a little bit more, and the addition of Hollywood Brown.
Yes.
This is what it looks like, Sterling, with a representative or representable left tackle. Just even if you say playing average, which I don't think he is, just playing average at left tackle. Even if you're getting average play at left tackle, Sterling, this is what Mahomes looks like when he's in the pocket and comfortable, and he's also got some more weapons to throw to. This is the offense they were hoping for, and I'm not sure you go back to DJ Humphries when he gets healthy.
No, I would actually agree with that. It's been an interesting conundrum for me, who I actually thought PFF was correct Week 15 against Cleveland, not grading on a curve. I didn't think Joe Thuney was good. That was, again, not graded on a curve. What he had to do to step in and do all that stuff was different. Then I thought against Houston he was pretty darn good. I thought against Houston I'm like, okay, I see him progressing now. Not just, again, not grading on a curve, because that's not what it is in the NFL, right? It's if you're playing there, you're playing there. Okay, so I'll get to the curve part in a second. Against Houston, I thought, okay, that is a average to maybe even a slightly above average production at left tackle for a game, right? That's not, an elite left tackle, but that's he was good against Houston. He surprised me. That wasn't a guy who died a slow death. He held his own. And then against Pittsburgh, I thought he won. That to me was the biggest change. And again, it wasn't him dying a slow death. It wasn't him doing just enough. This was Joe Thuney winning and thriving against Pittsburgh. That's my opinion. I leave him there at left tackle. I don't think there's enough ramp-up period for DJ Humphries to come back. And quite frankly, by the way, it wasn't like DJ Humphries was outstanding when he was. Again, it's tough. He missed the entire season. He's coming off of an injury. But that's not what you can afford to deal with when you are trying for a three-peat. You have a good left tackle right now in Joe Thuney. Caliendo has done a fine job. You can't run to the left. I keep screaming at my TV every time I see the Chiefs try and run to the left. Stop doing it. Run behind Trey Smith. It's working.
They did for the 4th and 1, and they did for the touchdown to Kareem Hunt.
Yes, it's to the right. Always to the right when you have success. But as far as pass protection, yes, keep Joe Thuney there. Keep Caliendo in at left guard. DJ Humphries is breaking in case of emergency. Wanya Morris is now your swing tackle / right tackle, basically. That's the way I think the Chiefs should go that way. And again, if you want to talk about the curve part now, Joe Tooney might deserve MVP considerations for this team. He's not winning over Lamar or Josh. That's not my point here. I'm saying team MVP. It might be Joe Tooney because what has been asked of him has been incredible. Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter / Will Anderson Jr., who, by the way, if you watch the Will Anderson Jr. against the Ravens, dude was outstanding. About the only player that was outstanding for Houston in that game. And then against Pittsburgh, all those guys. Highsmith, the guy whose last name starts with an H. What's it? It's
Highsmith?
Not Highsmith. And what's the other guy?
Sorry.
Dylan, I think, knows. Herbig or Herbig.
Well, Hayward.
No, it's Herbig. It's the other guy.
Okay. Oh, Nick Herbig?
Yeah, Nick Herbig.
Sorry.
And he stonewalled those guys and won. So, again, for me, Joe Tooney is your left tackle. He might be the MVP of the season for Kansas City because he may have saved the season for Kansas City by going over to left tackle.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 weeks, it has coincided with Tooney at left tackle and Hollywood Brown returning, or at least the last 2 weeks because he played against Houston. So the last 3 weeks, Joe Tooney at left tackle. But the last 2 weeks, when we've said the Chiefs have played some of their best football the last 2 weeks, against the Texans and against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's Joe Tooney at a 63.5 pass blocking grade and a 68.5 pass blocking grade. And it's Hollywood Brown being out there on the field. Now, 9 catches, 91 yards in 2 games, not stellar, but 77 for 774 over a full season is what that would equate to. Pretty good for a number 2, and that's him playing the first 2 games of the season, and there were a couple of times where he and Mahomes weren't on the same page. It could have been even more if Mahomes hits him for the touchdown against the Houston Texans down the sideline, where whether Mahomes threw it too far or threw it too much on a line, or Hollywood Brown slowed up the route, because it did look like he slowed a little bit when he turned the corner. Whatever that was, they weren't on the same page. That will get figured out and fixed with more time together. But even in those 2 games, 9 catches, 91 yards in those 2 games, that wasn't there before. And what it also does is it opened up Justin Watson down the sideline wide open because he beat that man one-on-one. They ran man-to-man single high coverage. And in man-to-man single high coverage, because they brought a blitzer, and so Fitzpatrick had to come down from the safety spot to take Xavier Worthy, who was running an over. He was on the same side as Justin Watson. Xavier Worthy was running the over route to the opposite side. Hollywood Brown was running a crosser. He was at the top of the screen coming down to the near side of the screen, and he had a cornerback on him. And Travis Kelce, by the way, comes across the line of scrimmage to pick up the blitzer, the cornerback that was blitzing. He recognized it, came across, crossed Patrick Mahomes' face, picks up the blitzer. Mahomes steps up, sees that the safety, the single high safety, is looking at Xavier Worthy crossing the field because he knows Xavier Worthy has Minkah Fitzpatrick on him. He doesn't have a cornerback. He's got a safety on him running the over, so he has to shade that way, which leaves wide open one-on-one for Justin Watson on the other side. And Mahomes hit him in stride. He's missed him a number of times. They were 0 for 5 on those routes when they went deep down the field, hadn't connected yet. But how many of those routes were there multiple guys around Justin Watson? Well, the one where he got
Jason,
offensive pass interference, there were 2 guys there.
It's a Christmas miracle is what it is. Yes. They were waiting until Christmas. It's the present that he delivered to everyone in Chiefs Kingdom.
There it is, yeah. But the single high safety that they ran because they wanted to blitz didn't work because they had to pay attention to where Xavier Worthy was and where because Hollywood Brown, I think, was open on that play running the crosser the other way. He had beat the cornerback. So if Justin Watson didn't win his route, I still think Mahomes steps up and hits Hollywood Brown for a first down. And by the way, that was the very next play after the 3rd and 11 flip to Samaje Perine. Those were back-to-back plays. It kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But those 2 plays could be the difference in, whether or not we're talking about a 29-10 win or maybe a 17-10 win, or who knows, maybe the Steelers get the ball back and go down and score and they're trailing 7-6 in the game because of the missed extra point. But 3rd and 11, Mahomes is able to scramble to his left. You know why? Because Joe Tooney took Alex Highsmith completely out of the play. Just washed him to the outside and then walled him off so that Alex Highsmith couldn't spin back around to go get Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes had an easy outlet to his left and then flipping that thing to Samaje Perine, who was rolling on the ground when Mahomes threw it. And the next play, 49 yards to Justin Watson down the sideline because Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy are on the field at the same time. That's what we haven't seen this year. Left tackle protection, Hollywood and Xavier, and Mahomes confident, footwork in the pocket, and delivering the deep ball on time and accurately because Single High was worried about somebody else. If that's Xavier Worthy over there, Sterling, running that one-on-one, well, that safety may shade over that way. You might have to, drop it between two guys. They didn't have to worry about that. That safety was way over on the other side. It was on the other hash when Mahomes threw that ball.
And by the way,
that's a huge difference.
Just with Hollywood Brown really quickly here, 20 snaps first game, 8 targets, 25 snaps on 7 targets. Does that not show you a guy who's getting open and a guy? So what's that? 45 targets or no, 15 targets on 45 snaps. Yeah. Does that not tell you a guy who's getting open and a guy who Patrick already has a connection somewhat with?
Yeah, and by the way, the last 2 weeks, as we take a break here, the last 2 weeks, Patrick Mahomes was clocked with his 2 quickest times to throw on the season. So getting the ball, rhythm, trust your offensive line, read the defense. What are they giving you? It's towards the end of the season. It's time to make a profit. We're not playing with our food. All right, we're here to get the number 1 seed. This is how he plays in the playoffs. What did I say 2 weeks ago against the Cleveland Browns? After that game, he played one of his worst games. And I said he passed up on how many open receivers to throw the ball deep or to go to the next level. Mahomes in the playoffs does not play with his food. He takes a profit. He takes what's there. They move the chains. This was a playoff game. Don't tell me any different. The Chiefs wanted this one. They wanted the 1 seed. They wanted to take care of business. They went out there, and what did they do? They took care of business, and Mahomes was locked in, completing the ball, getting the snap, getting it out of his hands. The quickest time to throw, the second quickest time to throw all season was the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first was against the Houston Texans the last 2 weeks. Not playing with your food, all right? Not, eating your vegetables, as Matt Derrick likes to say. Taking what's there, moving the ball down the field, and not thinking, I'm going to pass up this open guy because I might have an open guy in the second level and further down the field. Well, guess what happened? By taking what was there and hitting those shots, he also completed 6 passes that were 10 or more air yards, which he hadn't done in a game very often this year, that many. So those things start to build on each other. And Mahomes, the last 2 weeks, is playing the way that we have seen him play in the playoffs, which is what I said after that Cleveland Browns game, that I am not worried about how Mahomes is playing because when it comes playoff time, he will take a profit. And at the end of the day, he's going to have more money than not because he's taken a profit throughout the game. And was it Nate Burleson that said that? Said, hey, nickel dime. At the end of the day, you're still collecting money. And that's exactly what they did. We'll take a timeout, come back, more Zone next. next level voodoo for the Chiefs?
I would literally love nothing more.
Okay. Tell that to your wife. The Chiefs are 15-1, and the main connection the last 3 weeks has been number 15 to number 1. Oh my gosh!
Wow!
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
That's crazy. What are they going to do? This is mind blowing, right? It's so crazy.
I kind of hated that, Jason. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. It was stupid. I told you it was stupid beforehand. I presented that off the bat. I said it was
fair.
dumb. Yes.
Fair.
So yeah. No, so that's I have that that I can fall back on. Text says 913-912-4810. Text says, is this a Gerback versus Gannon situation, but at left tackle? Sure. And I would stay with the guy who's playing really well right now. As Will Smith said in the song Summertime, if it ain't broke, then don't try to fix it. Okay? And then he said, give me the summers of the past, adjust the bass and let the Alpine blast drop in my CD and let me run a rhyme and put your car on cruise and lay back because it's the summertime. If it ain't broke, then don't fix it. And right now, it's not only not broke, it's successful. Why mess with that? If you're going to mess with something on the offensive line, then Jawan Taylor, sitting down, and Wanya Morris goes and plays right tackle if Jawan Taylor's going to struggle. Although I didn't think it was a holding call on TJ Watt when he slipped and fell. That was actually an accident. I didn't do that on purpose. I even though people were complaining about JJ calling his brother TJ, I didn't mind it that much. Whatever. I didn't think that was a hold. It was TJ that was slipping, and Jawan Taylor, doing what offensive linemen do. That didn't look like a hold, but they were called for a hold, and it took points off the board. Whatever. Those things happen. People ignore it, and only the things that work for the Chiefs get emphasized and highlighted and outlined and underlined and everything else. So that's just the way it goes. So
yeah,
is it Gerback Gannon? I don't know. I'd stay with Gannon if that's the case.
I did think that was pretty interesting. I don't have an issue with J.J. Watt calling T.J. Watt's game. Like, that does not bother me whatsoever. That particular play did, though, because as a defensive lineman, as an edge rusher, J.J. Watt understands the game. Like, if he would have laughed and said it, I think we all would have found it funny, right? If he'd been like, oh, yeah, T.J. Watt really got held there. I think we all would have laughed. But, like, you can have your brother's back while also being unbiased in the game. You could have gotten a lot of additional unbiased points if you would have pointed that out. Instead, it was a clear fall down by your brother, and you're still taking his side, which makes it look worse. That was my only issue. Again, I thought J.J. calling T.J.'s game completely fine. I have no issue. It was just that one particular play when it was so blatant that, like, you could have actually gotten a whole bunch of unbiased points there, and you chose the opposite route.
Yeah. What do you think? Real quick, we can probably get into this a little bit more, but what do you think of the broadcast in general of Netflix and the production and everything?
Pretty good, honestly. Drew Brees, Kay Adams is outstanding. Mina Kimes is very solid. Yeah, no, I was I love RG3 too, by the way. I think RG3 is very, very good at what he does. I liked it for the most part. It's funny because this is what you and I do, Jason. I don't know why announcers always have to fill every ounce of space with talking. Sometimes I want it to breathe.
I mean, I know, right? I'm totally with you. I the same thing. I was thinking the same thing the other day, and I was like, "What? Just let it breathe. You don't have to talk every single second. Like, there can be a little bit of dead air. Like, sometimes it's even helpful to like build up anxiety, right, and stuff like that. Like, it's so crazy. Anyway, Sterling, what'd you say?
Good bit there. But yeah, I think sometimes it was too much. I would have been okay with them stepping back a little bit, but overall, I thought they did a really good job, and Netflix did a great job overall compared to the Tyson fight. So I'll give them props for that being almost the preseason for the NFL.
Yeah, where I was with no internet, having the game on my iPad connected with my hotspot on my phone. It was a blurry product, but it was not Netflix's fault. I've seen that from a lot of different people. Not Netflix's fault at all. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up an hour from now at noon. Sports or leisure at 1 o'clock, 913-3810810. Get to your phone calls here. Real quick, couple texts that come in. Text says, so most people are probably not old enough to remember this, but the Chiefs have been doing all season looks a lot like Ali's rope-a-dope. Well, you know what? Perfect connection as I am doing the show from Ali's hometown. So, yeah, certainly familiar with Ali's rope-a-dope. 913-912-4810. This was a good point. I brought it up in my notes when watching the game yesterday, but said the thing that drove us crazy on the Netflix broadcast was the showing of down and distance. Sometimes it wasn't shown until after the ball was snapped. 100%. I thought the same thing. It took them so long on so many plays to where you're just waiting for the down and distance to pop up. You know, it's like, I know it's third, but was it 3rd and 4? Is it 3rd and 5? What'd they get on that play? And as somebody who tracks every single play and needs to know the down and distance, that was definitely something that really stood out for me, as opposed to literally any other broadcast. They could have been a little quicker with that, but, that's sort of nitpicking, things like that. 913-3810810. Let's go to Rodney here on Sports Radio 810 WHB on this Thursday. Rodney, welcome into the show. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Thank you for taking my call. It's been a while since we last talked, Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has.
I had 3 points. You hit on 2 of them. About the offensive line. I think this is a bigger deal than what people are putting out to be. I think what Joe Tooney is doing is changing the way you have to evaluate offensive linemen. The whole quote-unquote prototypical offensive line size and arm length is now being destroyed by Joe Tooney. Mitchell Schwartz mentioned that on Twitter. Joe Tooney is different. He goes against everything that every GM wants in the offensive lineman. Joe Tooney don't have the long arms and 6'6" or 6'7" and have the massive lower body strength that you want in a typical left tackle. He's just extremely technically sound. He's just extremely technical. So now you have to really reevaluate the whole offensive line. Also to throw in what Wanye Morris did at right tackle. That matters. Like, you have to go back and evaluate how many snaps did Wanye Morris play left tackle in college. I don't think he played much. He just stayed at the right
early in his
side.
career. Yeah, early in his career he played left tackle, but then he got moved to the right side in college.
And that stuck with him. That's muscle memory. He looked way more comfortable. So now it's like, is Wanye Morris good enough to walk on Jawan Taylor and take the cap hit? That's a lot that Beach has to think about. And also, the whole cliche of we just put out our best 5 offensive linemen, that might have to be a reality, because I want to know, what do Kingsley look like at left guard with his athleticism? Is he good enough to work with that double team with Creed Humphrey and have the athleticism to get to the second level and third level to help out in that run game? He seems like he's much more quicker than Caliendo. So if he can do that, that changes how you evaluate your whole entire offensive line. That's one of my points there. My second point is, I argue this: Xavier Worthy is a wide receiver 1. I'll fight that, because Patrick Mahomes said he mentioned it in his post game press conference. The deep pass that he threw to Watson, he called that for Xavier Worthy. Well, he saw 2 guys go with Xavier Worthy. And you're right, Hollywood Brown was wide open. But Mahomes said he saw Watson stack his corner, and he beat his man, so he just threw it to Watson. But that play was called for Xavier Worthy. So now you left with questioning, which one you rather deal with, Xavier Worthy's speed down deep or his speed and his route running in the intermediate? Because he's tearing safeties and corners up no matter where you put him at in the intermediate route. So now you got to pick your poison. How you want to deal with Xavier Worthy? And
Rodney, let me hit on that point. Let me hit on that point real quick before your third point. I just want to reiterate what you're saying, because I don't want to forget these numbers that I looked up. Last year, Rashee Rice, his last 7 games, so he didn't play Week 18, and I don't think Xavier Worthy is probably going to play Week 18. So Rashee Rice, game 10 to 16, had 47 receptions, 560 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Over the course of the season, that would be 114 catches for almost 1,400 yards. That's legit number one stuff. Xavier Worthy, a little bit slower coming along, but his last 7 games, just the same stretch, game 10 to game 16, he's had 39 receptions for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. That would be 95 catches for 952 yards and 7 touchdowns over the course of a 17-game season. The 95 catches is the number one, receiver. 952, I think that will improve, certainly, as they use them in different ways. But I just wanted to just emphasize your point on we saw that progression from Rashee Rice last year, and we're seeing the same thing from Xavier Worthy this year. Maybe not the volume of yards, but the receptions and the touchdowns are there just as it was for Rashee Rice.
Absolutely. And now that's a very, very big question to sit back and ask when you game planning on offense. And my third and final point, when Chiefs Kingdom and the NFL world is wondering why Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers were so hell-bent on trying to get Dave Merritt, I would like for somebody to tell me who was really hurt in that defensive back room. Because it showed, to me, when looking at that game on Christmas, it looked like nobody was hurt. But if you look at the players, they got some injuries on that back end, but how they played was a whole different story. And now Chiefs Kingdom have to worry about Joe Collins. Again, without Chris Jones, look at what they've done. Even in the fourth quarter when the Steelers was trying, which I respect Mike Tomlin for really pressing it, to get them guys some work, that defensive line still held up. So now it's like, again, this defensive coaching staff is great. And my final little honorable mention point in the last show, Nate Buchanan, I forgot who he was on with, but he had a great point. Can you name 5 guys on that defense that did not start their career with the Chiefs? And it took
that was
me
Jesse
a
Newell.
minute.
That was Jesse Newell. It was a great point.
That's right.
Because I was trying to think, along with you and everybody else, I was trying to think, who are the guys, the 5 guys?
And he had a great point. You know how difficult that is? That's a testament to your entire defensive coaching staff. And that is very, very hard to do. So I think Chiefs Kingdom has to weather the storm again. Teams are going to come after Dave Merritt and Joe Collins. Because this is ridiculous. Jaden Hicks looking like a starting safety? Yeah. Roland Wallace, an undrafted rookie. Are you kidding me? So where's all you have to do is throw your hands up at this point. But I really want to see what Kingsley looks like at left guard because of his athleticism. And I think Wanya Morris, is he good enough for Brett Veach to walk on Jawan Taylor? To me, I think that's a very valid question. And I'm going to listen off air.
Hey, Rodney, I appreciate the phone call, man, as always. The last little part there, the issue would be walking on Jawan Taylor would cost you too much money. He's on the team at least one more year. Now, if you're saying after next year walking on him, yeah, I think that's probably what they do anyway with that contract. But, Wanya Morris at right tackle or, Joe Thuney at left tackle and the offensive line being a bigger deal than maybe even we're making it out to be and certainly evaluating offensive line play. Mitchell Schwartz on Twitter said – back on November 17th, they were talking about tackles, and Kyle Long said, talking about Joe Thuney, Kyle Long responded to Mitchell Schwartz and said, Thuney is always so square and proficient at tackle. Mitchell Schwartz on November 17th said, he's been the best left tackle on the roster since he was signed. He's a great example of not profiling guys into a position based on size or measurables, would have had a fantastic career at left tackle. And then he retweeted that earlier today with the eye emoji. And I agree because what I've seen is Joe Thuney being a really good left tackle. And you know what? He was evaluated. He's been an amazing guard. So it's not like he got put in the wrong spot and he wasn't able to succeed. He's been one of the best guards in football. But I think what we've seen is that he's been one of the best offensive linemen in football. And now doing what he's doing out at left tackle is pretty phenomenal, and they are working Xavier Worthy in different ways and allowing his route running and speed to be based off route running and route running based off speed, I should say, and being able to run different things and putting the ball in his hands and finding ways to use him while Hollywood Brown is out there as well. It's been fun to watch the last few weeks with this offense, especially the last 2 weeks with this offense and how they performed.
It's making me actually enjoy legitimate RPOs again, because Xavier Worthy can take that ball at the line of scrimmage and take it what would be a 2 or 3 yard gain for the majority of players, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Now, I understand that he doesn't have the maybe greatest contact balance or strength in his legs, that he gets tripped up all the time, and he loves getting up and showing how close he was to breaking a play, which happens 4 or 5 times a game, but he's still so efficient and effective turning 4 into 7. It keeps you ahead of the sticks. It's becoming an extension of the run, and these legitimate RPOs with him being the benefactor, those quick slants, they've been great to watch. Again, he's showed so far he can take at least somewhat of a hit. He has pretty darn good hands for the most part. And he gets upfield. You know what's interesting about a guy that fast that I just thought of? He doesn't dance around a ton. Like, a lot of guys who have that quickness and that speed, they love to try and make a massive play happen. He's very good at taking what is given. And I think that's a very underrated part of Xavier Worthy's game so far.
Yeah. When you talked about RPOs, I'm trying to find the play. I think it was the 3rd drive for the Chiefs, or the 4th drive for the Chiefs, I guess it would be. It was the 4th drive for the Chiefs. They ended up punting. It was the 4th and 1, Kelsey 14-yard catch that was called back because of the Jawan Taylor holding penalty, and then they punted instead of the 58-yard field goal. But after the Worthy 3rd and 6, 12-yard catch on a quick out, the next play, it looked like an RPO in which he hit Hollywood Brown in stride, 13-yard catch, just running a quick slant. Boom, RPO, got him. Catch it, 13 yards, first down, move the chains, getting to the next first down, and keep that thing rolling, which they would have until they got to 4th and 1, converted it, and then, of course, there was a holding penalty, and they ended up punting. 913-3-810-810. Doug next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Doug, go right ahead, sir. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, guys, or I should say good afternoon, I guess.
Look at you, Spags.
I'm from afar. I'm up in Toronto, and I wasn't even sure if you guys would take the call or not. I'm north of the border. You stole kind of my thunder a little bit there on Worthy. I think he's going to be a real important key cog here as we get to the playoffs. And I'm an older guy. I've been around cheering the Chiefs since Dawson and all those great players back in 74, 75. But I did have one question, and I don't get to listen to you all the time. I'm just wondering if it was talked about. I'm just curious. I know I'm going back a week or two here now. When it was 4-3 and they were up 21-7, and Mahomes was in there. I mean, the injury risk, I think, sometimes is just, I know the guys have their stats, and Andy probably wants to get the boys playing as much as everybody else, and it's great that everybody's healthy and getting back in the team. But I just felt with 21-7, it's just too much for a risk with your franchise guy out there, and a risk of somebody taking a shot at him. Was it talked about much at all, or not really?
I don't remember. Are you talking about this game, the Houston game, the Cleveland game, or
no? I'm trying to remember who they were playing. They were up 21-7. Not last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess. Right?
Against the Browns, I guess it would be.
Yes, maybe it was the Browns when Mahomes was in there. Like I said, there was like 6-7 minutes left.
Oh yeah, it's in the fourth quarter. Yeah,
you're right. And it was 4th and 3, right? Take him out. You don't need him in there. Let him rest up. Let him heal. Whatever. I just think sometimes it's just too much of a risk to have him out there and somebody taking a shot at him.
Yeah. Doug, I appreciate. How'd you become a Chiefs fan, Doug? If you're up there in Toronto.
Well, I'll tell you. Obviously, I said 74, 75. I mean, a lot of people my age when they were kids. The AFL, the Dolphins, Raiders, the Chiefs, Denver Broncos. Everybody was fans of all those teams. It was great football, and a lot of us cheered for a few teams, not just one. Because it's just great football.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the phone call, Doug. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening as always.
Thanks,
brother.
guys. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I would have against the Browns. I think we did talk about it, Sterling, that we were surprised that they didn't get guys more rest there in the fourth quarter, especially Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, guys like that, Karlaftis, that were still out there playing. It wasn't a game where they were seeing much of Carson Wentz in the game. I thought maybe this would be a game where we see a little bit of that as well, but not the case. And, they're the way they're playing right now, if you're not out there running around, Patrick Mahomes, or handing it off, getting the game over, things like that, get out of there and keep it moving. So, but Xavier Worthy, I put out those numbers, Sterling, with Xavier Worthy, the last 7 games that he's played, which, coinciding with the last 7 games for Rashee Rice, game number 10 to game number 16. And this is Xavier Worthy, game 10 to game 16, and we'll see if he plays game 17 or not, but would be pacing for 95 catches, 952 yards, and 7 touchdowns over the course. And that's just receiving. That's not even counting in his rushing stats and things like that. I would be surprised, Sterling, because of what we expect Xavier Worthy to be, that if he has 95 catches in a season, he would have less than 1,000 yards. I would guess that if he goes through a full course of a season, Sterling, and has 95 catches, that's not going to be 952 yards receiving for him.
Seems more like a 1,500 number to me.
It could be. I mean, again, Rashee Rice in that same time would come out to a 17-game stretch of 114 receptions for 1,400 yards.
But by the way, I'm not saying that I expect him to have 1,500 yards. I'm saying when
I don't expect him to have 95 catches.
That's more or less my point as well. I think when Rashee Rice comes back next year, you're going to look at a different style. But right now, that shows the versatility, the depth, and the talent that Xavier Worthy possesses. That he was brought in, at least the initial thought process, to be a down-the-field threat. That has not coincided with just him and Patrick this season, so they've had to adjust. And the fact that he's been able to adjust mid-season as a rookie on the fly to become this more or less possession receiver, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal, and they're using him. They're using him more ways. They're using him more often. They're finding ways to get the football in his hands, whether that be a reverse or throwing the ball out to him quick. And they're utilizing him in different ways, and it's certainly worked, and it has helped this Chiefs team. And first down, quick throw, make a profit. Awesome, man. Get that thing out there, and see what you can do, see what you can accomplish by doing that. So let's hear from Patrick Mahomes. And one of the things we're talking about here, just to weigh in on that, he talks about Worthy and Hollywood out there on the field at the same time. We talked about that Justin Watson 49-yard pass that they ran single high. The Steelers did for some reason, but they blitzed their slot corner, which meant that their safety, Fitzpatrick, came up to cover Xavier Worthy. And with Xavier Worthy being covered by a safety, it meant the single high safety had to shade over to Xavier Worthy, who was running a crosser away from Justin Watson, which left one-on-one for Justin Watson, and Mahomes dropped back. Kelsey picked up the blitz, looked downfield, saw that Watson won. There it is. There's my read. Safety's on the other side of the field. It's one-on-one, and he's got a step. I'm throwing it. And because he also had a step, he didn't feel like he had to be perfect. Justin Watson did slow down a touch to go and catch the ball, but he had beaten his guy that badly that you were able to do that. Here's Patrick Mahomes talking about having Worthy and Hollywood on the field at the same time.
100%. The play was actually called to those two guys. And so as I went through my reads, Trev, first off, made a great block on the blitzing nickel across the formation. And then the offensive line protected well. And I stepped up, and I was looking at Xavier and Hollywood, and you could feel the safety push. And I was kind of give a peek out to J. Watt, and he had stacked his corner. And I put it out there and let him make a play. And I was happy for him. I mean, this is home for him. And to be able to make a couple plays, get a touchdown, it's always special when you get a touchdown back in your home state.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that was about that specific play because then Patrick just simply explained it the way that I explained it, except for the fact that, Sterling, I thought the initial read would be Justin Watson's one-on-one. The safety is, shading over to Xavier Worthy. They brought the blitz. Therefore, it's man-to-man coverage, and Justin Watson won, so I'm throwing it there. But as he said, I was looking at Xavier and Hollywood, and then I peeked out the corner of my eye, and he had stacked his corner. Because, again, I think Hollywood was open on that play, too.
Yeah, and this time, Justin Watson came down with the ball. And that's right. Huge. But honestly, for Justin Watson, I'm thrilled for because he was able to get the touchdown on the same drive, right? He did a lot of the heavy lifting on that one. But, again, it goes to show how results-oriented the game really is, right? Because what are we saying right now? wow, because of Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, look at what Justin Watson can do. Yet when they had the exact same play, but it went through Watson's hands, we're all screaming, why didn't you throw it to Hollywood or DeAndre Hopkins or anyone else? Again, it's obviously a results-oriented business. I'm glad for Justin Watson, happy for him. But again, on both those plays, it does go to show you what Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown can do to open up the field for some of the other guys.
Chiefs were up 6-0 in the first quarter, and it was their second drive. The punt that was the punt from the Steelers, so the Chiefs started at their own 21-yard line. And the second play was Kareem Hunt lost a yard, and then the incomplete pass that looked like it was just underthrown to Hollywood for Mahomes down to the bottom part of the screen. So they were facing 3rd and 11 at the 20-yard line. 5 plays later, they scored a touchdown. That's not what the Chiefs do. That's not what we have seen from the Chiefs team this year. 3rd and 11 was that P. Ryan flip.
Yeah, that was the P. Ryan. He's on his. If you look at it, when Mahomes is starting to throw or I guess toss that ball, P. Ryan is on his stomach. He's down on the ground on the field. He's able to get up and make that play.
The pictures that have come out of where Mahomes is flipping the ball up and P. Ryan isn't even facing him, but they've got him like in the foreground of the shot.
He's on the ground.
That
Jesse
should be
Newell.
in SI, like when they do the pictures of 2024 or pictures of the year, like that should be one of them. That's an amazing picture.
Yeah, Jesse Newell tweeted that out, and apparently Patrick Mahomes showed P. Ryan that exact Jesse Newell picture.
Oh, that's
in the locker
awesome.
room.
I didn't know who took the picture. That's awesome, Jesse.
Shout out Jesse.
Yes.
Shout out.
Yes, so Jesse Newell tweets it out. So if you haven't seen that specific shot, go check out Jesse Newell's Twitter account or at the Kansas City Star. I think Pete Granoff has that story and that tweet up there as well about Patrick Mahomes pulling up that tweet and showing Samaje Perine. He's like, hey, come here. You got to look at this, man. You were on the ground when I flipped it to you. And Samaje saying, like, when he got up, he didn't see the ball. And so as he caught his balance, that's when he saw the ball coming to him, and then he went and caught it. But it was also a hold because Queen throws him to the ground, just grabs him and flips him to the ground. That's what the holding call was by the official. I thought the penalty when he threw it was Humphrey was downfield. I thought, I'm like, oh, no, Creed Humphrey thought Mahomes was going to run. But then you look back, Creed Humphrey was only a yard past the line of scrimmage when that ball was thrown. And Patrick Mahomes was clearly behind the line of scrimmage. In spite of the tool bag that tweeted out a still shot of Mahomes' front foot being past the blue line and talking about the refs missing the call and everybody just dunking on him and making fun of him for not knowing the rule.
Imagine not knowing ball and then blaming the refs. Right? That's just that's
say I don't know what I'm talking
just
about.
Just say I don't know ball.
Yeah, that's the same guy that when he watches basketball that sees a guy dribble up the floor and the guy's right foot steps into the front court, but then he dribbles around somebody and goes back to the back court and is like, over and back, that's over and back, dude, that's over and back. He was over on that side, his foot was over. It's like, yeah, dude, it's called the rule of 3, okay? Both feet in the ball. There's no possession in the front court with only a foot, dumbass. That's not an over and back. That's not an illegal forward pass. The entire body has to be past the blue line, man. Know what you're talking about before you scream about the refs. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. We talked about at the beginning of the show. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at noon, but we talked about at the beginning of the show what a difference a year makes. December 26th last year was a rough show. It was a lot of negativity, a lot of sky is falling, a lot of dynasty over, a lot of Matt Nagy be fired, a lot of Patrick Mahomes has lost it. I mean, just like a lot of things, man. And since that show, the Chiefs are 21-1. 21-1. And they won 15 games this year. We'll see if they win 16 against the Denver Broncos, which I appreciate because I had the alternate line of over 14.5 in one of my bets before the season started. So I do appreciate that already cashing. I did not take the alternate line of over 15.5, but I did take over 12.5, 13.5, and 14.5.
That's
so I
bold.
Really appreciate
Jason.
Well, I mean,
smart man.
Well, I mean, if they got to 13, if they got to 14, I was already in the profit. They got to 15, then it was even nicer. So, just stacking it like that. Kind of like against the Houston Texans when I had Hollywood Brown. And I stacked Hollywood Brown with 2 receptions, 3 receptions, 4 receptions, and stacked it with 25 yards, 30, and then 40 yards receiving. And that was a hell of a day against the Houston Texans. Because if there was a day where you were going to get that low a number with Hollywood Brown, it was that day. And so, yeah, it paid for my wife's Christmas is what it did. So thank you, Hollywood, for returning. I appreciate it, man. It didn't pay for Travis Kelce's Christmas for Taylor Swift, but it paid for my wife's Christmas in stacking all of those with Hollywood Brown. Getting to, what did he get to, 4 receptions and 48 yards or something like that?
I thought it was
in the
5.
game against the
5
was it
45.
5?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what it was. So even better. Because I had stacked 4. I also had 6 receptions stacked up there and 50 yards. So he needed one more reception for 5 yards. And it would have been, then my son's Christmas would have been paid for too. That would have been awesome. Damn you, Hollywood and the Chiefs. But there are very few times you can do that. When Kareem Hunt, the second game he started for the Chiefs, there was a very low total for him, and it was like 45.5. And so I stacked 50, 60, 70, and 80. And he got to 78. And it was like, well, it's still a good day, but could have been better. I don't know that you're going to get that chance again with Hollywood Brown. I also don't give out betting advice because when I do, that loses. So I just keep it to myself.
So, yeah, so you just talk about your wins afterwards. Yeah, nice. Yeah,
that's
nice.
right.
You hear that,
that's right.
Dylan? Yeah, no. Shockingly, we don't hear about the losses, but the wins we sure hear about, huh?
Oh, I had some losses. But not many this week, though. I'll be honest with you, not many this week. It was nice. It was a pretty good week.
That was a pot and kettle conversation there, Jason, from Sterling.
Right.
Pot and kettle.
What'd I do?
What
I do? I don't get it. No, me?
Because we did definitely when you were. I don't know if you heard. We had talked about the fantasy football championship that
0.7 points, baby.
He won.
Did you win?
Yeah, well,
I
we
won.
talked about
I'm a champion, Jason.
You won your fantasy football. It's so
by
luck,
0.7
so
points.
That goes into
no,
that.
it is not. There was zero luck. I was up 0.7 heading into the fourth quarter. Again, no one cares. But I had Josh Jacobs, who was sat out the entire second half, and he had the Green Bay Packers defense. So that entire horrendous fourth quarter of that game was absolutely electric for our group chat of 10 dudes.
You guys don't play till week 17?
This year we
you only go till week 16.
Yeah, this year was different, and they're going to change it because I won. Man, they don't like the to all the haters and losers.
My son experienced fantasy football heartbreak for the first time. It's the first year he's played, but he was in the semifinals because they do the Super Bowl like most people do, which would be week 17. And so week 16 he had Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs got benched. And he lost a close match. And he was like, what? Why isn't Josh Jacobs in the game? I said, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, but you're going to get used to lots of things like this in your life playing fantasy football that you're going to go, why? What did that happen? Like the fact that my team scored the most points. I lost in the first round of the playoffs, and my team scored the most points last week. And then, Derrick Henry yet again doing what Derrick Henry did yesterday. Doesn't matter because I'm not in the Super Bowl. And guess what? My team's going to score the most points out of all the remaining teams this week. And I'll look back and go that close loss in the wild card round.
What plate did you get?
Doesn't matter. Let's see. I scored the second most points. And
No.
200
What
more
place,
points
though?
than the third. I got. I believe that would be fifth.
You know what you call that, Dylan? You call
Bad
that
luck.
blowing out bad teams. No. You're just running the score
No,
up when you win. That's what it is. You're
No.
the Dak.
I also went.
You're the
I also had
Cowboys.
I also had the third most points scored against me this year.
You're the Cowboys.
Third most points against.
Gotta have better
There's
defense,
nothing you can do about that.
Jason.
That's just luck. That's just luck. That's what that is. Randomized schedule. A different randomized schedule, I would have had the 1 seed, and I'd be playing in the Super Bowl right now with Derrick Henry. Doesn't matter. It's all luck. It's all luck, Sterling. And if you take credit for winning a fantasy football league, all you're doing is taking credit for flipping a coin and saying, "I told you it was going to be heads.
Yeah.
I strategized for heads."
I mean,
Sure.
Jason,
did.
I'm a lucky guy, so I mean, yes.
You are, actually. That does make sense that you would win fantasy football leagues. That makes total sense that you would do that, man. All my luck happened with my family. That's what it is. I got blessed, and that's all my luck is in that, and really career.
Did
Let's
your
be
wife
honest. All
walk
my
in the
luck
room
went
right
to-
then? Did Kaylin walk in right there?
No. No, she doesn't listen. She doesn't listen. No, all my luck went to my career. Let's be honest. A lot of forks in the road that just happened to flip heads each and every time. So there ain't no lie about that. 913-912-4810 is the text line. You know what we haven't talked much about in this game, because all year we have been lamenting what this offense was doing and how the offense was not playing. And we haven't really talked about the defense, Sterling, in the different things that we've seen from them over these last 3 weeks, and the fact that they are now the number one scoring defense in the NFL, 18 points per game. And the last 3 weeks, 13 sacks and 10 turnovers. Even if we take away the Cleveland Browns, right? Okay, well, 6 turnovers. Okay, let's take away the Cleveland Browns. Last 2 weeks, 8 sacks and 4 turnovers. This Chiefs team, in this 3 games in 11 days, Sterling, 3 games, 11 days, they are plus 10 in turnovers and plus 13 in sacks.
Not bad, Jason. I mean,
Not
seriously,
bad at all, I would say.
This is just the Spagnuolo special. Peaking at the right time. I do think, obviously, the culmination of Charles Omenihu coming back has been a
Yes,
legit
I
point
agree.
to look at. But also, it's the secondary. I mean, there were a couple of coverage sacks this past
Yes,
game, which
you're right.
I don't know how many coverage sacks you could have said there were the previous, I don't know, 10 weeks of the season. 15
Previous 12,
weeks of the
13,
season.
14
Yeah.
games.
So whenever Jalen Watson went down. But yeah, McDuffie was great. You saw Christian Roland Wallace. You saw Keith Taylor. I mean, you saw everyone. It just, I don't know if it's confidence.
Jaden Hicks has really come on strong.
Jaden Hicks has been outstanding, my man. I mean, he's got that dog in him. I wasn't a huge fan of the penalty, like understand the situation. But if there ever was
okay
a
with
time
it.
to do it,
I was okay with it.
I was okay with it then, especially because it wasn't.
Exactly. They were up 19.
And it wasn't going to give him a first down, so I'm like, all right, if there was a
right,
time to
yes.
do it, that is. Pickens has been talking smack all game long.
100%.
Pickens has been ripping his helmet off, and somehow that's nothing. And so doing the 2 thumbs down on that play was just, that was electric.
100%, dude. I was totally fine with that. I know some people were complaining about it, but I'm like, you know what? They're up 19, and the change of possession had already happened. If you're going to do it, that's the time to do it, man. At least he did that. If you're going to, pantomime, brandishing a weapon, it wouldn't be on the first drive of the game. I probably wouldn't do that to take the penalty. And by the way, I know a lot of people on Twitter and things like that complaining about the penalty and, this is the NFL no fun league and all of that stuff. Look, they know the rules. You know the rules. Don't do it. It's very simple to not do that. In fact, it takes more effort to do that than it does to not do that. So just don't do that. That's all. That seems pretty simple. You can have lots of different celebrations without doing that. So that to me was more Xavier Worthy than it was, the NFL is dumb and it's no fun league and there's a Second Amendment and all that. That's fine. But it's a rule, so don't do it.
Yeah, originally I think we all thought because when they threw to break, no one knew what he did. We all thought he was shoveling coal, and I was like, how is that?
I thought they
or shoveling presents into a bag or whatever. I'm like, how is that a penalty? And then you saw when they came back for break and they saw the whole brandishing or whatever that was. I was like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, I thought when they went to break, I'm like, hold on. When they were shoveling stuff, I was like, did he throw the football into the bag first and you can't use the football as a prop? is that what he got? I'm like, really? On Christmas Day, that's what we're doing? We're acting like that's a present for somebody, and you're actually going to, penalize that? I mean, come on. Then I saw that. I'm like, oh, well, that's the rule. You know the rules. Just, don't do it.
Or
That's all.
Travis Kelce. And we all agreed that was okay.
Yes.
By the way, I thought he was going to get stuffed by the goalpost. That he barely crested that.
Yeah. He had to lay that thing up a little bit. He almost got the Sprite commercial.
He had to throw that thing high. He didn't really dunk it down. That was like oh man, I'm not going to make it. Let's just lay up.
Let me get rid of it.
Little jelly roll.
Right as my hand hits the rim or hits the. And you know what? Tony Gonzalez said he was going to pay for the fine. So I appreciate Travis Kelce doing that. Again, late in the game, game is already in hand there. He knows the rule, but that was also sort of paying homage to Tony Gonzalez. Look, I can understand if somebody has an issue with Jaden Hicks, and I can understand if somebody doesn't have an issue with Xavier Worthy. It's just those are the rules. Jaden Hicks knew the rule. I was also okay with it because of time and place, because of where they were at, and I'm with you. I bet George Pickens was doing a lot of talking, sometimes to his own sideline. But he was doing a lot of talking. And you know what? Didn't do enough on that interception for Justin Reed, because I thought Netflix did a great job, Nate Burleson breaking that thing down, of Justin Reed had over-the-top coverage of one-on-one with George Pickens. And as soon as Pickens just stopped on the route, Justin Reed was like, oh, now I can roll over this way. And Russell Wilson thought Justin Reed has coverage on top of George Pickens, so I can throw it down the middle because he's not going to be there. Oh, whoops, he is. Why? Because George Pickens just stopped. Like, that can't happen. And, there are some reasons there where the Chiefs were not going to draft George Pickens. And I think we saw some of that in that game yesterday. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next.
Make Hold Casino.
Yeah, I think at that point he was just trying to get out of there. They knew the game was over, no chance. The way that they were playing, the way the defense was playing, even if they got close to the Chiefs weren't going to still be at 29, I think.
Yeah.
If they got close, it's like you needed to get to 29, but if you got there, the Chiefs weren't going to still be there at 29. So at that point, I think Tomlin was, let's get out of here, minimal damage, don't need to get anybody injured, let's punt the ball, run the clock. Let's roll. Let's get out of here.
A gentleman's agreement is what it was, basically. It was,
probably.
hey, you guys don't run the score up. We're just going to get out of here.
Yeah.
Both teams are playoff teams, right? So there's still more games to play. There's no reason to try and fight and claw and potentially get someone injured. You know what I'm saying? This is not a 4-12 team that the coach is trying to keep his job. Tomlin isn't going anywhere. They know what – they understand there's more important games to be played for both teams.
Tex says, what was the deal with 14 interrupting the postgame with 15 and 87, making it about himself?
Yeah, I was going to say, we know what that was about.
Yeah, getting airtime, making sure that he was on TV.
Why the hell did you take Sky Moore when I was sitting right there?
Yeah, do you think he said, come get me?
Come get me. Come get me.
And then they said, this is why right here. This is the reason.
By the way, this text comes in, and this would change things. So I don't know if this is true. If this is true, then I apologize. But it said Xavier Worthy has a "I Heart Mom" tattoo right there that he pulled up his jersey to show. Said he wasn't brandishing a weapon. He has an "I Heart Mom" tattoo there. If he was doing that, then yeah, that's it was misconstrued by the official, and certainly me as well.
Yeah, agreed.
As to what it was. And if that's the case, then maybe I would tell the officials beforehand, hey, when I score a touchdown, I lift up my shirt because I show this heart tattoo to my mom. She's not here. When she's at the game, I give her the football. When she's not here, I'd show this. So I am not acting like I'm holstering or brandishing a weapon.
Yeah.
This is me just showing the tattoo.
Is there?
It'd be like reporting. It'd be like reporting if you're an offensive lineman eligible. Just go ahead of the time and let them know.
I'm trying to see if I can find that tattoo. I'm having an issue right now. He's got a lot of tattoos. So when you type in Xavier Worthy tattoos, you get a lot of them, and not the one I'm trying to find. I will also point out, though, I don't know, and I would agree if that's the case, and this entire situation has a different flow to it. Yeah, but you're not allowed to do that, though, to take your jersey up, correct? Remember, because someone used to do that. Yeah. Was it Tamba Hali or someone did it for like Jamal Charles?
This year it was Zadarius Smith with the, I want to say, Vikings, Lions. I can't remember, but that was after everyone in the NFL was getting flagged for the, gun pointing first downs and things of that
But
nature.
I think even taking your jersey up and showing something underneath, I always thought was a penalty because we've seen that before with former Chiefs players doing that. Because you do it as like an homage to someone, like you would have a T-shirt underneath and you'd get a flag still. Could be wrong, but I remember that.
Yeah, yep. So if that's the case, then then that's unfortunate. It cost him a point. I do think there is a little concern moving forward about Harrison Butker. He hasn't looked like Harrison Butker since he returned. He missed that. He got close a couple of other times, and last week he got close a couple of times. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the way. Matt Lane, we'll talk with him next. Travis Kelce himself. Consists of vanilla frozen custard, Oreo cookie dough, and caramel. A portion of the proceeds go to support Travis Kelce's 87 and Running Foundation. Top your day with a smile at Andy's. And yes, that was a sweet play for the Chiefs, and I love the different angles that are out there on social media of Samaje Perine laying on the ground and his face looking the opposite direction as Mahomes is throwing the football, as Perine then, looks up. The ball's already in the air, finds it, catches it, first down, and he's on the ground because of the holding penalty on Patrick Queen, who, threw him to the ground. So, yes, sweet play, definitely. The very next play, 49-yard pitch and catch to Justin Watson. A couple of plays later, Justin Watson touchdown. That was a huge play on 3rd and 11 to keep that drive going. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, the KC Laboratory Podcast, joining us here in the zone. Matt, what's up, brother? How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We're coming off of Christmas. It's always a good time of year. And then the Chiefs decide to give us a nice little present there in the middle of the day. And with a no-stress fourth quarter of football, I don't think we've had one of those this year.
So nice to just sit back and enjoy that thing. How was your Christmas, Matt? Was it good?
It was good. It was a good time. It's fun. It is fun having the Chiefs play on Christmas, get the whole family around to watch it a little bit. And it's also a little bit in the middle of the day. And it's kind of like, I don't know if we need this right now coming in the middle of the day or not. So I haven't fully decided how I am with football on Christmas. But other than that, the holidays went well.
100%. Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. I want to use this as a jumping off point because we just played that play for 3rd and 11 to Perine, and I had mentioned the very next play was that shot to Justin Watson. Last week or 8 days ago, whenever it was, maybe after the Browns game, I'm not sure. But you wrote a piece that said Patrick Mahomes' deep ball is ... broken ? What were we seeing from? Because I'm with you, it just didn't look the same, and some of those highlights you were using, it looked different. What were we seeing from Patrick Mahomes? And was yesterday and that shot to Justin Watson anything different from what you had been seeing at certain times this year?
Well, and I think you can even check this back to the Houston game, too. The deep ball to Justin Watson in the Houston game that he was unable to bring in, I thought was a pretty good pass. The one to Worthy where he just couldn't get both feet in. I'm not going to rip Worthy for not getting both feet in there. That was a great play by the corner. It kind of blocked him from getting his second foot down, but that was still a good pass. That's perfectly in stride, away from the defender. So it seemed like the past 2 weeks Mahomes had thrown a better deep ball. We just hadn't seen it get completed and really pay off. Well, we got that this week. And so he hits Justin Watson this week. He fills this one in. And it looks good. Now, it's not a lot. They're not throwing the ball downfield a ton, so I don't want to say anything is fixed. But I will say it's almost as if having the hurt ankle forces Mahomes to know in his mind that he's not going to be as mobile, and it makes him, I don't want to say be safer in the pocket or stay in the pocket anymore, because I think he's almost done that to a detriment this year, but I think it makes him be more cognizant of his footwork. It makes him think about his mechanics a little bit more, and so you watch some of these deep throws these past few games, things are kind of, he's not short-stepping, he's not overstriding, he's following through. The ball's coming out pretty quick still, so he doesn't have a guy in his face. It just, the mechanics overall, the release and everything look a little bit cleaner, and I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden coincides with, 3 better placed deep balls than we had seen the majority of the season.
I am 100% of the opinion that when Mahomes has an ankle injury and it forces him to sit in the pocket, trust a little bit more, go through the read, and if the first read is there, get rid of the football on time, accurately, footwork, all of that stuff, that when the ankle injury is there, sometimes he can play better football because I need to just scramble and do some different things here is sometimes not available as readily as it would be when fully healthy. And maybe it's correlation causation, maybe it's Joe Thuney, maybe it's Hollywood Brown, but the last 2 weeks for Patrick Mahomes were his 2 fastest time to throw the ball this season. And against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was the fastest time of his career in getting rid of the football. Now, some people were quick to point out and say, well, see, there's a system quarterback by Patrick Mahomes. He's just doing what the system is telling him to do, and that's why he's putting up numbers. But luckily, Kurt Warner, has played in a couple of Super Bowls and has, league MVPs. He said not enough people recognize time to throw as not just being quick gameplay calls, but the ability to recognize coverage weaknesses, eliminate options that don't have a chance, and getting eyes on the read defender quickly to simplify the game and get the ball out. Maybe the most underrated aspect of playing quarterback is the ability to avoid sacks and lost yardage throughout a game. We've seen that the last 2 weeks. Is there anything? Is it the ankle that's making him sort of take a profit no matter what and not pass up a nickel for the chance at a dime, but you end up with a penny or nothing? Is it Joe Thuney at left tackle that he's trusting a little bit more? Hollywood Brown creating more mismatches and easier throws? Maybe it's all of the above. But what are you seeing from this team the last 2 weeks? From Patrick Mahomes and this offense when they've gone out there and been pretty close to scoring 30 points both times, falling short, but close.
Did we may have lost.
I agree.
Him. Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. You know what, Matt? No, stop it. No, you don't need to say that about me.
Stop it.
You got stop this guy. Stop it. Mike, look at this guy just flipping the ball and Samaje's not even looking. Stop
Your question
it,
was
guys.
so good, Jason.
Thank
it
you.
has left him utterly speechless.
I mean, right? I mean, come on, man. I mean, really, this is crazy. But by the way, go check out that Kurt Warner tweet because I thought that was pretty fascinating to see because Mike Sando, who you'll hear on the program, I believe later today, it's Thursday, and they talk with Mike Sando on Thursdays, said that Mahomes' average time to throw versus Steelers was the fastest of his career. And he said if you sort all of Mahomes' starts by time to throw, the 14 quickest times to throw in his career, he's 14-0. The 31 quickest times to throw, he's 30-1. The 72 quickest times to throw, he's 67-5. It's crazy. Now he also has won 800, or he's 80% of his games. He's winning at an 800 clip. But Matt, I don't know when we lost you, but I guess I'll just ask, what part of the last couple of weeks do you think has been the most, the biggest part of this Chiefs offense? Joe Thuney at left tackle, Hollywood Brown back, that ankle making Mahomes sort of stay in the pocket, go through his reads and deliver the ball quickly, time to throw, all of that stuff. What have you seen the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go back on the piggyback on the point you were talking about from Kurt Warner about the time to throw is not always just like it's a check down kind of point or anything like that. A lot of it is seeing the offense pre-snap and knowing what you're going to get from coverage and then knowing where you're going to go with the ball. Because you look at the past 2 weeks, the Chiefs haven't had the deepest passing attack. I think the average depth of target the past 2 weeks has been under 6 yards, which isn't too, which is around their league average this year for Mahomes, maybe a little bit below. But it hasn't been, one of his shortest throwing performances of the season, but it looks better. When you watch it, it doesn't look like they're checking the ball down. It doesn't look like they're just throwing, dink and dunking down the field. I think a big part of it is, like we said, he knows that the ankle isn't what it's supposed to be. He can't run around back there and elude all the pressure that he typically can. So he's emphasizing reading out the coverage, making sure he gets the ball to the open guy as soon as they're open, and then they're moving on. And so I think that equates to that. And, yeah, typically if you were going to do that all the way down a football field, you're going to have success. It's going to be an efficient offense. And when you really start clicking, you can hit some shots to the intermediate area. You can hit some shots down the sideline to Justin Watson with still not having to hold the ball very long. But I do think a big part of it is also the last two teams they played, very single-high-minded defenses that play a lot of man coverage. I think the Chiefs went into these two games saying, hey, we kind of know what kind of defense we're going to get, and we now have a Hollywood Brown back. We can protect our quarterback here with some of these route concepts that are stretching the field horizontally. We're letting our fast guys outrun leverage. The ball will come out quick because we have a quarterback that understands it, can read it, can deliver the ball. So it's just kind of a combination of team playing a little bit better, Mahomes definitely playing better, but then these two defenses versus this Chiefs receiving weapons with Hollywood Brown back, I think it just kind of culminated into this perfect storm to say, here's a quick passing attack that's going to have a ton of success, both weeks.
The flip side of that, Mike Sando tweeting out his 9 slowest average time to throws in his career, he's 1-8. His 17 slowest, the Chiefs are 6-11. So just something to think about there with that. A lot of the conversation, Matt, the last couple of weeks, and certainly today, Sterling and I have been talking about Joe Thuney at left tackle and the performance that he had and that he's had really the last couple of weeks. Against Myles Garrett, he graded on a curve. I thought he did perfectly fine for being in there at left tackle. Against Houston, 63.5 Pro Football Focus grade, only 4 pressures. Against Pittsburgh, 68.5, 0 pressures, and Alex Highsmith had his lowest pass rush grade all year against Joe Thuney, and the 4th lowest pass rush grade for Alex Highsmith dating back to the beginning of the 2022 season. That's almost 3 full years of football for Alex Highsmith. That was his 4th lowest pass rush grade. Joe Thuney at left tackle. 1, what are you seeing? And 2, do they just stay with Joe Thuney at left tackle, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
I think Joe Thuney is doing a fantastic job, kicking out to left tackle, coming in there and providing very, very stable play. It's super consistent. You know what you're getting play in and play out with Joe Thuney, and that's kind of what they needed out of that position. The right tackle, Juwan Taylor is a fine right tackle. Any given play, he can go one-on-one with a good pass rusher and be just fine. Also, any given play, he can have a penalty or a really bad rep. So it's inconsistent off the right side. You kind of know what you're getting on the interior, and I think just having a competent, consistent left tackle has meant a lot to this team. So, him being able to step in and do that, I do think has been massive. Going forward, though, it's you can see, I think, some of the issues with having a guard play tackle. Some of those, and I know he did a great job against Highsmith, but especially in the run game, some of those times where the Steelers had a really wide-aligned defensive end, especially if there was no tight end over there, Thuney did have a little trouble getting all the way out there and, kicking out his run block. Or some of those really deep high-side rushes, Thuney really gets into this hard recovery mode because he just doesn't have the tackle footwork. He doesn't have the deepest kick slide. He's not used to having to protect up the arc 8+ yards, especially from a guy that is rushing 2-3 yards outside of him. So I wonder how much of the quick passing game is a scheme limitation because they don't know what they have, in terms of being able to call deeper, longer developing pass plays from Joe Thuney. So he's been very good, and I think he gives them a very solid floor. I just do wonder how much of their play calling of the very short, quick passing attack, which is working, so maybe you don't change it, but I do wonder how much of that is influenced by the fact that they do have a guard, a good one, but a guard still playing left tackle right now.
Yeah, so do you think they roll with it, or would you roll with Joe Thuney at left tackle and say, DJ Humphries, you are nice insurance, and Caliendo at left guard, or do you go with DJ Humphries if he's healthy at left tackle and Joe Thuney return to left guard?
I think if DJ Humphries can get healthy and he can go play in Week 18 and stay healthy the whole game, I think you try that. I think you see if you can get him healthy, you let him play, and if he performs well by what your coaches think, how they grade out their own players, and he's looking good in practice, I do think you give DJ Humphries a shot because you can always go back to this lineup. I think you can always go back to this Joe Thuney, Mike Caliendo offensive line lineup if you need to in the playoffs. But I do think you maybe take that swing with a healthy DJ Humphries if he gets back there, getting Joe Thuney back to left guard. And the biggest reason I want to say that is because I think if you look at the run game since this switch has been made, I do think the run game's taken a pretty big step back with Thuney at tackle and Caliendo in at left guard. I think not only is the run playbook a little bit more limited, but they don't have quite as much success doing so either. So I do think you want to try to swing for the ceiling, but you can't always have a quick pull back to this current lineup that we know is working.
Yeah, Matt Lane is our Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, with Joe Thuney playing left tackle last 2 weeks. Hollywood Brown is back, and what the offense looks like. The last 3 weeks for this defense, 13 sacks, 10 turnovers. Last couple of weeks, 8 sacks, 4 turnovers. Massively different numbers before and after Charles Omenihu. What are you seeing from this defense, and are they now back to being that high-level, maybe elite defense that for a little bit this season sort of went away, and we really were questioning how much they could rely on that side of the football?
I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me for the defense is just they're letting Trent McDuffie move around again a little bit more. They're letting him get into the slot. They're letting him track other top wide receivers across the formation. It felt like they got away from that once they lost Justin Watson or Jalen Watson there. They kind of got a little confused on what they wanted to do. They didn't know which second corner was going to be there on the outside. They had to get McDuffie out of the slot and be a full-time boundary corner. It feels like reverting back to letting him play inside and outside or both sides of the field against the other team's number one wide receiver has helped them a lot. And, you still have some ups and downs from Najee Johnson, from Joshua Williams. They still do have, ups and downs. Neither one of them are perfect at this point in time, but just letting McDuffie move around, I think we have seen that instant impact, and it's made the entire coverage unit as a whole a lot better. He challenges other teams' go-to guys, especially on third downs. And I think it gives that pass rush that has come alive a little bit lately a good chance to really pin their ears back and make an impact, which it's been a good stretch here these last three games. The Browns, the Texans, and the Steelers, three pretty mediocre to bad offensive lines, but that lets your defensive line get their confidence up. You start to see Karlaftis stacking together 3 straight good weeks. Omenihu's impact is felt. We saw Mike Dana actually become a big impact as a pass rusher this week, and just little stuff like that helps going into the playoffs because they really hadn't shown much this year. Oh, and they get to drop Chris Jones back into this here, hopefully come the divisional round and just make it that much better.
Yeah, and we saw FAU with a pass rush snap that looked like a first rounder, at least
yes,
on that play. With his bend and explosiveness when he got to the top of his turn, that was impressive. I'd like to see more of that. That would be great. What are you seeing from Jaden Hicks? It seems he's playing more and more and looking like he's making more and more of an impact as he's getting comfortable. And how much of a key do you think he might be to this defense moving forward with Spagnuolo using him more in different roles as the season has progressed?
I really like the energy that he brings out there. Like, he is a guy that when he is on the field, you definitely can tell that there's just like a difference. Like, he brings a level of energy and physicality that you don't get from other safeties. And I think especially with Shamari Connor being out, who also can provide a similar idea of that, like physical, comes downhill, makes plays. I think that goes a long way with just bringing that level to it. And now then on the play, it's up and down as any rookie's going to be. Yeah. But what I have liked as the year's gone on, he kind of replaces Brian Cook in the lineup or in the rotation for a series here and there. And what I've noticed is, I've never once been out there and been watching and seen Hicks out there and think he's completely lost as a deep center fielder or as a half-field cover safety. He does a good job staying assignment sound, and that's kind of what Cook was doing with his rookie year when he did get out there. It's maybe not the flashiest of plays in coverage. Now, Hicks has also made some great plays, don't get me wrong, but maybe not always flashy, but very assignment sound, which is what you want from these young players. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if his snap count continues to grow, and I think he's going to be very important for this team once you get to, beyond the divisional round most likely, but the conference championship game or the Super Bowl, where you start facing some more mobile quarterbacks who really do want to stress your defense with their legs and stuff like that. Having Hicks and Reed on the field together to get their physical presence, but that athleticism that may be a little bit more than a linebacker. I kind of think a spy role or playing one of those guys on the second level instead of just as a safety might be a big deal for them down the stretch because they have definitely not done great against rushing quarterbacks the majority of the season.
Matt Lane is our guest. All right, last one for you, Matt. This is a team that has a lot of time between yesterday and the divisional round, whether that be Saturday or Sunday that they would play those games. They have one game left. The 1 seed is locked up. How many of these players do you think rest? Do we see Mahomes or Kelsey or Chris Jones, or just go ahead and count those guys out and we'll see them come the divisional round? And any worry about the whole rust thing when we talk about rest versus rust, that this being a longer time off rather than week 18 to then the divisional round a couple of weeks later?
I don't think you see those three guys play at all. I would be pretty shocked if any of those three play. Chris Jones dealing with an injury, you want that cap to be 100%, high level of re-injury. Mahomes, we don't got to go too far into that one. Even if he didn't have the ankle injury, there's no reason for him to play more snaps than he needs to with it locked up. And Kelsey has played such a high percentage of this team's snaps this year at his age. Give him the time off, too. I'm more intrigued by what do they do with, Joe Thuney or the entire starting offensive line. How many of those guys are going to play? How many won't? Defensively, just Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis, two guys that have played a ton of snaps this year, are very important to what this defense can do. Don't think there's really any rust or improvement that you're banking on from them in the final week. Did those guys get any run, or do they get a little bit of that vet day off just because of their ranking, I guess, in the hierarchy of the Chiefs players? So I'm just intrigued how many guys get the days off or not on both sides of the ball besides Mahomes, Kelsey, and Jones. And then rest versus rust, the majority of this team has played a lot of football together, a lot of high-leverage football in the playoffs, must-win games, Super Bowls. I don't think I'm too worried about rust for this team. There's some young guys that maybe come out and the moment's kind of big for them or something, but I don't think that's because they had 25 or 4 days off. It's just they'll be their first time, in the playoffs or one of their first times playing in the playoffs. So not too worried about rust with this particular unit. I think the rest, especially with that early season bye, is far, far more important. And maybe there's a sluggish drive to start the divisional round when they first get the ball on both sides, or on defense and offense. But I would expect the energy and just kind of the effort to be through the roof after this much time off.
I will throw this out there to the rest versus rust for those that would be worried about the rust part of it. Before yesterday's game, Matt, the Chiefs' second highest DVOA came in week 1 against Baltimore. When they had a couple of weeks off, and that third preseason game was, the third preseason game where guys don't play all that much, if they play at all. So they had roughly, I think it was 17 or 18 days from preseason game number 2 to the Baltimore Ravens game. And until the Pittsburgh game, that was their second highest DVOA game this year, was their first one of the season, not having a full season of playing, but just going through training camp and a few, drives in the preseason games. So I think this team will be fine if they go a couple of weeks without playing football. I think they'll be perfectly fine. Matt Lane, Matt, great stuff as always, man. Happy New Year to you and yours, and we will catch up in a couple of weeks, brother.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Enjoy the rest of the holidays and the New Year's, and I will talk to you guys in a little bit.
Absolutely. There's Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. And I think a lot of people will get that opportunity to rest, and I'm with them. I do wonder what it's going to look like for the offensive line. How many of those offensive linemen get an opportunity to, take that week off against Denver and the extra bye week? Do you call some guys up from the practice squad, and is that a Driscoll game? Is it a Wanya game? Is it a Kingsley Suamataia game? Is it a Norzad game at center for Creed Humphrey? Just get those guys some rest and not have to worry about going out and playing. But certainly Chris Jones with the grade 1 calf strain, and he's that's a guy that you sit until the divisional round anyway. So that's an easy one. And then Travis Kelce yesterday again played 89% of the snaps. He sat out for 7 plays yesterday, which is amazing to think about. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. I mentioned the Baltimore Ravens, the DVOA, and what they had in that Week 1 game. And I want to talk about what we're seeing, the numbers backing up what we're talking about of the Chiefs hitting their stride, and what is the commonality between the games this year that they have had their best games. And that's certainly good news for what the Chiefs will be facing in the playoffs. We'll do that on the other side of the break. More Zone next. via text line. There have been 4 teams score 30 points or fewer in every game this season. The Kansas City Chiefs are 15-1. The New England Patriots are 3-12. The Las Vegas Raiders are 3-12, and the New York Giants are 2-13. I think they're pretty good. Maybe it's not just about scoring 30 points. Maybe that's not what because there have been, the Bengals have scored over 40 points in 2 different games this year in which they've lost. So maybe it's an entire team that goes along with that. And the entire team also accounts for DVOA, offense and defensive DVOA. Did you see this stat or graph from Aaron Schatz of Fantasy Insiders, something like that? I mean, it used to be Football Outsiders. I can't remember who he's with now. I apologize, Aaron. But did you see the Kansas City Chiefs DVOA by week in 2024?
I have not.
Okay, great. I tweeted it out earlier today, but I am perfectly fine with FTN Fantasy is where he's at now. He's the one that created DVOA. Used to be Football Outsiders, not there anymore. He's now FTN Fantasy with his DVOA. So here is what the graph shows. The Chiefs' highest game in DVOA was week 7 after the bye week against San Francisco.
Sure.
Their second highest game, according to DVOA, was actually Wednesday against Pittsburgh. Their third highest was against Baltimore week 1. And the fourth was against Houston. The fifth was against the Chargers week 14, and the sixth against the Cleveland Browns week 15. So their second, fourth, fifth, and sixth were all in the last 4 weeks. Number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 6 in the last 4 weeks of DVOA. Only the San Francisco 49ers game and the Ravens game were higher than some of the games in the last 4 weeks. There's a few things that are in common there, Sterling. One of those, beginning of the season, rest, building up, right? Coming out, playing great football against Baltimore. That was their number 2 game. A week off before San Francisco, the bye week, number 2 game, and they caused a number of turnovers. They got sacks on Brock Purdy in that game. And the last 4 weeks in which they know they can't lose to get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
That seems to be a pretty good indication of how this Chiefs team plays when they, 1, have a little bit of rest, and 2, are extremely motivated to go out there and play great football and win the damn game because it'll get them the 1 seed.
When they need a game, when they need a drive, there's no team in the NFL that's going to get it like the Kansas City Chiefs. I get it. It's a long season. It can be a grind. It can be a drag, especially for a team that's played so many more extra games than any other team in the NFL during this stretch. They can be worn down. But when they need it, the Chiefs get it. And I think, again, this is what that alludes to.
Yeah, and even if we just take it to these last 2 weeks, so the Chargers game and the Cleveland Browns game, week 14 and 15, if we look at these last 2 weeks where the picture became clear, you beat Houston, you beat Pittsburgh, you have the 1 seed. So that means their number 1 game in DVOA was San Francisco after the bye. Number 2 was Pittsburgh, win, and you get the 1 seed, so it's like a playoff game. Number 3 was Baltimore, first game of the year, you're rested and ready to go. And number 4 was Houston, where, hey, these next 2 games you go and win, and you get the bye. That's not a surprise. That to me, that's not a coincidence at all. That's being rested, being extra prepared, and motivated to go out there and play good football. And those are their best performances. And that's where, after that Cleveland Browns game, I'll go back to those conversations at the time, that this Chiefs team, what they did after Christmas last year, and going on the road for 2 games in the playoffs, a neutral site for the Super Bowl, and winning those 4 games, Miami at home, and then the next 3 games, after what they looked like on Christmas, completely changed and warped the way that I was going to watch Chiefs football in the regular season. And after that Browns game, I said that. I'm like, Mahomes is not going to play like this when it comes time to you actually have to win. And this was like a playoff game. They won this game. They won a playoff game. They don't have to play in the first round. They're one of 2 teams in the NFL that does not have to play in the wild card that is in the playoffs. They've won a game already. This is how they play when you have to have it. They will continue to take a profit. The defense is going to be out there running around, confusing the offense, putting pressure on the quarterback, turning the ball over, and the offense is going to go out there and play somewhat clean football. Outside of they were penalized 9 times. 3 of those were unsportsmanlike with the taunting, the Travis Kelce and the Xavier Worthy. A couple of them we disagreed with what those calls may have been, but still, they didn't turn the ball over for the 6th straight time. The NFL record is the Patriots, 7 straight times in 2010. So they're 1 game against the Broncos away from tying the all-time record of consecutive games without a turnover. And it's been when they've needed it the most, and they've had to go out there and win games to secure the 1 seed. This is what they do. It's what they do when it comes time to no longer play with your food, right? To eat your vegetables. No longer there's a light at the end of the tunnel, Sterling. You can start to see the postseason. Now let's get ramped up. Here we go.
Well, it's almost culminating with Andy Reid. I think some of his better coached games, at least the last 2 weeks in particular. I don't know if he's had to do that because of Patrick's ankle, if he's forced to I don't want to say drop the good plays, but maybe make it a little easier on him for sure, right? Yeah, but again, Hollywood's coming back, and it's culminating with Andy Reid and Patrick and Joe Tooney to left tackle. Just things are starting to click. We've talked about a ramp-up period, trying to try different things. What works? Because you had time last year on Christmas. They didn't have much time after Christmas, but they had time to fiddle around this year and see what was going to work, what was going to click. And I think they found it. Again, Hollywood being back, Charles Omenihu being back, Joe Tooney at left tackle. These short routes, maybe not the Xavier Worthy deep routes, but shorter routes, right, with him, the intermediate routes, the RPOs, legit RPOs, running to the right side of the offensive line, not the left side of the offensive line, which still has me screaming. But the Chiefs in the secondary, right, it was a little bit less of Brian Cook, more Jaden Hicks. It's maybe there's not a CB2 that we trust every single game. We're going to roll with the hot hand of whether it's Christian Roland Wallace in the slot versus Shamari Connor, whether it's Josh Williams, Najee Johnson, Keith Taylor, even a smattering of Keith Taylor. They'll find a way. Like, again, they had time to figure things out, so when things weren't going well, yes, it was frustrating to watch, but the Chiefs were treating that as an experiment, and they were winning the experimental games. Now they have the actual game plan, the actual formula, and now they're winning by double digits. It's great.
Shout out to Joshua Williams as well with coming over and making that play on the sideline, tipping the ball up in the air. Mike Williams almost caught it, but he would have caught it if Josh Williams didn't get a hand on the football and knock it away. Let's hear from Andy Reid. We're talking about these last 2 weeks and how well they've played. Andy Reid weighs in on the last 2 games about, asked, were the last 2 games the most complete games of the season for this team?
Yeah, I'd tell you, I'd probably say yes, where all 3 phases were rolling. The important thing is that we continue that, and that we keep getting better and not flatten off, not go backwards, but keep climbing on that.
Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes, too, weighing in on that, because we talk about complete games, and it's really been the offense. That side of the football has been the issue with not having complete games. It's like, well, the offense is struggling, defense is awesome, but you don't have a complete game if the offense is, not even getting to 20 points. If the offense is, getting all these 6 turnovers, having 14 drives, and, they have 3 scoring drives. So, yeah, it's got to be better than that. Patrick Mahomes talking about these top defenses the last 2 weeks, the Houston Texans, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and how good the offense has been against those defenses these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think we built up to the perfect spot. I mean, we've gotten better and better. Before Hollywood got in here, Xavier started playing better, being more confident. I got a better chemistry with him. Other guys that stepped up started making plays, and then it's like you throw Hollywood in there, and it kind of sets everybody perfectly in their roles. And you saw that today. I don't know the exact stats, but it seemed like we spread the ball around really well, and guys made plays. And when you have that many weapons out there, it's hard for defense to account for. And Hollywood's made a huge impact on this offense.
Yeah, you had 8 guys get a target and a reception in this game. 8 different players targeted and a reception. And also, you know what it shows too? With Xavier Worthy being used the way that he's being used, Hollywood Brown getting targeted a number of times, mixing in Juju, oddly enough, mixing in DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, 2 catches, 7 yards for D-Hop. But still, like, we're talking about Hollywood and Worthy and those guys, and it's like, well, DeAndre Hopkins is there too if you need him to go and make a catch, which he can go and do. Noah Gray had only one target in this game. And it's, nothing against Noah Gray at all. It's just that, Noah Gray, when he was getting targeted, 5 and 6 and 5 and 5 and 6 times, we were talking about the offense maybe struggling a little bit. The last 2 weeks he's been targeted twice because they're throwing to Kelsey, Worthy, Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Samaje Perine out of the backfield. Again, nothing against Noah Gray. It's just, when Noah Gray is being targeted, it means those other guys and playmakers aren't open. When those guys are open, the offense is clicking and they're rolling. So, Noah Gray stepped up when he needed to, when other guys weren't, and made plays, and they won games when he was out there doing that. But the last couple of weeks, he's only got 2 targets, and this offense has looked the best that it has. It's kind of like when we went to last year, Sterling, and we were like, why is Justin Watson getting targeted 7 times in a game? That's not good. Justin Watson should not be targeted that much. And then he stopped being targeted that much. Not necessarily the same, because I think Noah Gray will make plays when the ball is thrown his way. It's just it's a nice extra option as a second tight end to have when you've got Kelsey, Worthy, Hollywood, DeAndre Hopkins, and Noah Gray. Your second tight end can be your 5th or 6th option with Juju or Justin Watson or the running back, Samaje Perine or Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield.
Well, and it's great. You're right. You don't need to, but it's nice to have that trust factor. I think that Patrick and Noah Gray have that trust factor. As we saw early on in the year, he looked Noah Gray's way a lot. So if there is a situation where, again, not going to happen often, but if there is a situation where Kelsey, Worthy, or Brown and Hopkins are all covered, well, it's not like you're thrown to a guy that, it's not not trying to take a shot at Sky Moore, but like where Patrick never seemingly even looked his way. When the offense was struggling and Sky Moore was out there, it was like, okay, I don't care. I'll take a sack. I'll try and run. I'm not going to throw the ball that dude's way. He will throw it Noah Gray's way, and more times than not, at least it has been at least the entirety of this season, Noah Gray is coming down with that football. Like, that is such a nice insurance policy to have in a tight end, too. Yep. It's not just a block-first tight end. It's not like let's see what happens. It's 50-50. No, Noah Gray is going to come down with that ball. He's been outstanding. I do like the addition of Samaje Perine, at least the uptick in snap count and usage for him. It's reminded me a lot of Jerick McKinnon, right, to an extent, as far as who's the veteran, great pass block, can pick up a blitz pickup, but also is dangerous out of the backfield. That's Samaje Perine that had been Jerick McKinnon in the past. Yeah, and again, Justin Watson, this is a better role for him. I know we're ripping on him for the drop catch, and maybe we were a little too harsh because we saw him emerge like a phoenix out of the ashes in this one. To come up with that touchdown as well as the deep ball in this one. Yeah. But this is a good usage for Justin Watson, I think so.
Yeah, 31 of the 38 attempts from Patrick Mahomes were targeted to Kelsey, Worthy, Hollywood, and Hopkins. That's how it should be. There you go. Yeah. That's your successful offense. Those guys on the field, and that's no Rashee Rice. I mean, come on, man. What this obviously Rashee Rice instead of Hopkins if Rashee Rice was healthy, but you get the point. You throw in Rashee Rice there, but Kelsey, Worthy, Hollywood, and DeAndre Hopkins. Those were the 4 guys that took 31 of the 38 targets from Patrick Mahomes. And he was 29 of 38, 320 yards, and 3 touchdowns. By the way, just the second game that Pittsburgh has had a 300-yard passer against them this year. They're one of the top passing defenses.
Wow.
Just the second game. The other one was Dak Prescott threw for 350 in like week 4 or 5. But Patrick Mahomes, 320. The second 300-yard passing game against them this year was a guy who hadn't thrown for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in one game all year. And then he does in Mahomes, 320 and 3, and a 127 quarterback rating.
To play devil's advocate, does anyone put any weight on TJ's ankle coming back on such short rest with the issue he had against Baltimore?
I mean, maybe. I mean, there might be a little bit to that. But I would say that the TJ Watt aspect is, like, if he was going up against Tooney, I may give it a little bit more credence. Yeah. I don't know. But, Jawan Taylor and TJ Watt would have been the matchup. There might be a little bit there, but it didn't feel like there was, a time where it's like, man, they are just missing TJ Watt. Because at times he looked fine. I know he slipped on that one that was a holding call, but it didn't look like he was favoring his ankle. And he played the week before. So he played last weekend, but maybe the quick turnaround is that. But, yeah, I wouldn't give it much credence. Pittsburgh fans may, but I'm not sure that's the.
It wasn't 19 points worth.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. I just didn't
and
know
76,
if you guys did.
and 76%, completion percentage from Holmes worth as well. And also, by the way, you guys want to take a guess as what the average depth of target was between?
I was actually going to see if I thought you were going to average time to throw because that was the other thing that probably
we did that,
neutralized
average depth of target. Well, it's probably going to be buoyed by the 40-ish.
We'll remember the
Justin
stat
Watson.
that we gave out last week.
Yeah, was it like
talking about
8?
No, it was the perfect number for them this year when Mahomes has had his best game is between 6 and 6.9. And so
6.9.
You wanna guess as to what it was between?
6.45. Directly in between. Yeah.
It was between 6 and 6.9. If you want to go exactly what the average depth of target was, it was 6.5. So right there. And add that to the list of the best games he's had this year being right between 6 and 6.9 being his best games. That's that sweet spot. That's the quick throws, timing of it, initial reads, getting the ball out, and he did that against the Baltimore Ravens. He did that against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he had 291 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He did that against the Carolina Panthers, in which he had 270 yards and 3 touchdowns and 73 completion percentage. And he did that now against the Pittsburgh Steelers, in which he had 320, 76% completion percentage and 3 touchdowns. Just when they're in that groove, that's when they are.
I don't know if there's a better pass
clicking.
rush in the playoffs besides the last 2 weeks.
That's a great point. And no
or
sacks.
3 weeks. I'd say 3 weeks. Yeah.
Right, and no sacks. And Patrick Mahomes has a great ability of avoiding sacks and avoiding those negative plays. But, last couple of weeks, coming away with 0 sacks with those pass rushes that they've gone up against. And should also, say, well, they had, 1 sack last week against Houston? So 1 sack in 3 weeks. No sacks with Cleveland. No sacks against Pittsburgh, and I think they got 1 sack. Houston got him 1 time.
And we looked up that sack. It was on a blitz. It was the middle linebacker, Christian
that was
Wilson or Watson. Not Watson.
That was when I was trying so darn hard
Christian
to find out who gave up the sack, and I looked at
Harris,
all,
number 48, Christian Harris.
Yeah.
Yep. So 3 games, 1 sack against Myles Garrett and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson and Highsmith and T.J. Watt. 3 games, 1 sack. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. Leisure, 913-381-0810.
Leisure.
To be a part of the show. The sports, actually. Is
And.
what it is. Yes, or, maybe.
Ampersand.
So, yeah.
Fiction. I don't know. Fact. I don't know. I'm just saying things now at this point. I was so sad that Lebo wasn't here to play Fact or Fiction on Tuesday when you were gone.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. Sorry, man.
I do this show for the games. I hope you know that.
We only have you here for the games, so I mean, it's a perfect marriage.
I
It's
literally
great.
have a mustache for Steve Harvey. That's the whole reason why I do this. It's for Steve.
Yes. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Text says, Worthy has always been able to run all the routes, but they were only using him deep. I do think that was the case early on. I think they were just running him deep and trying to use his skills as an advantage for other players on the field. And now we're seeing him as an actual receiver running these routes. And he's, Daniel Holmes, who we had on last week, tweeted it out before it was before Christmas. So it was before the Pittsburgh Steelers game, and showed Xavier Worthy running a route against the Houston Texans. It wasn't a pass that Mahomes threw his way, but the route was just so beautiful. I mean, just playing off his speed, the stop, start, the fake outside, the acceleration, boom, stop on a dime. The cornerback flies by. He comes back to the football, to the sideline, just past the sticks, wide open. But Mahomes had pressure at that point, so he was already rolling to his left, and Xavier Worthy was at the top. And it was like, that was just brilliant. That route had that quarterback just guessing the whole time, knowing in the back of his mind, if he starts to accelerate, I got to dig and accelerate with him. And there's no way you're stopping on a dime the way that Xavier Worthy did. And they're using that a lot more with some of those outs that use the speed to his advantage, not just over the top. Yeah. And that's where I do think those 95 catches, as we said, these last 7 games that he's played, he would be pacing for 95 catches and 952 yards over the course of a season. That using him in different ways and teams having to adjust to that, I do think if he had 95 catches in a season, he would have a lot more than 952 receiving yards.
Well, it's why you got to give a huge hat tip to Xavier Worthy, to Andy Reid. Do we give a hat tip to Connor Embry? We ripped on him last year, but what about this year as far as the difference in Xavier Worthy, the growth of him in this offense? They didn't just stick with him being that deep ball guy. They said, okay, let's try and switch something up here. And again, who do you give credit to? Who is the leading candidate? Is it Andy for using him in those roles, or is it Xavier Worthy for being a rookie, understanding and taking that role on?
I think it's both, but I would put it more on Xavier Worthy because Xavier Worthy had to get to know the offense and to know that, as Travis Kelce said, routes aren't just simply a line on a piece of paper. And here's how you got to be Mahomes friendly. Remember, I heard that last year, Rashee Rice was becoming Mahomes friendly. So you got to do that. You got to know where you're supposed to be at all times and the depth that you're supposed to be at. So can you run routes like you did at Texas, knowing the offense like the back of your hand and playing off that? Can you run those routes now with the Chiefs offense and the depth and all of those things? And as the season's gone along, he's done that. And they found ways to get him the ball. So I would credit Xavier Worthy a lot with what he's done, just as I would credit Rashee Rice a lot for what he did at the end of last year. Sports or Leisure, 913-381-0810. We do that next.
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, 913-381-0810 is time for a little sports or leisure. 913-381-0810. First in, first on for sports or leisure today. Give us a call, 913-381-0810, and you'll get a sports question and a leisure question. You get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, you do lose. But that question is out there available for someone to call in and request if they know the answer, or maybe they've looked it up, I don't know, or they've had time to figure out the answer, I don't know, phone a friend. I'm not sure what lifeline you could use. I'm not sure, but you've got that with sports or leisure. We are giving away $25 to sports or leisure. For those that get the sports question and the leisure question right, you get the $25 to Johnny's Tavern, the premier sports bar in Kansas City. 10 area locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. It is Johnny's Tavern, where you can go and enjoy the percentage off on a Monday after a Chiefs game of however many points the Chiefs scored the game before. That would be, 29 points. So 29% off, a little Johnny's Tavern. That is with a large specialty pizza, dine-in only, that you'll get that percentage off. The large specialty pizza at Johnny's Tavern, 29% off Mondays after a Chiefs game. So you can go and enjoy that. 913-381-0810. While we get the phone lines started, I guess we have phone lines already. I was going to say as we're waiting for the phone lines.
We're golden, baby.
We're golden. Okay,
stay golden, Pony Boy.
Damn it! I was getting ready to say that's great, Pony Boy. Well done. You know what? I'm impressed, Sterling. That real. I didn't think there was a chance that you had seen The Outsiders enough to quote it.
There we go,
so
baby.
Good for you, man.
One line.
That's great, man. That car's tough. That's a tough car. All right, 913-381-0810. Here are the categories we've got today. We have general NFL for categories today, and we have the holiday Christmas names. So general NFL, and then the holiday or / Christmas, the names that we have. Those are the categories for today. What about on leisure side, Sterling?
We have Christmas Vacation, which are questions about the movie Christmas Vacation.
Cool, nice.
So that will be fun. And we'll also do riddles, because if you're just like, I hate Christmas movies and I don't like this movie, then we won't do it. And we might get to ho-ho holiday movies if we need some easier ones, if people just don't know anything about Christmas Vacation. But that's only if you're taking the easy way out.
That's fine, yeah. You can have just general Christmas movies, ho-ho holiday, or, you can have the Christmas Vacation ones. That's great. That's awesome you got Christmas Vacation. I'm glad you did. That was cool.
Yeah, I stayed up all night doing that one.
As you
really,
should.
I was grinding away. Yeah.
As you should, sir. Should stay up all night for those. All right, I am ready to play. Sterling, you good to go?
I'm always ready.
Dylan, what say you, sir? Yeah, all right. It's the day after Christmas. Come on, it's first day of Hanukkah. Let's have some fun, man. Let's enjoy ourselves today. That's great. I can't do anything that would mess up my voice. So I'm good. People are excited about that probably. All right, to the phone lines we go, and we bring in Charles leading us off here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Charles, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Do some leisure. I'm going to do the Christmas Vacation.
All right, Christmas Vacation. Here we go.
Yes, sir.
What part of the turkey did Cousin Eddie want Clark to save for him?
The neck, Clark.
There you go, baby.
Save the neck for me, Clark. Okay, Eddie. On to the sports side, sir. We've got Christmas names, and we have some general NFL.
It's got to be Christmas names.
All right, very good. Let's see. This 3-year starter for Oklahoma State at quarterback was drafted by the Steelers in the 3rd round. He's been a backup his whole career, but has had many opportunities to play, including this year starting 4 games. Myles Garrett almost turned out his lights when he swung a helmet to the head. Luckily for Santa, that didn't happen.
Good one, Jason.
Thanks. I appreciate that. He did try to take out his lights.
He did.
We forget about that with Myles Garrett, that he took a helmet and swung it at this guy's head.
Yeah.
And connected.
That red nose, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, luckily it hit him in the top of the head, or he may not have a nose.
Oh, good point, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that thing would take that thing clean off. You know what I mean?
Can you run that by me one more time?
Yeah, very good. He was a 3-year starter at Oklahoma State at quarterback, drafted in the 3rd round. A backup whole career, except he started 4 games this year. He's had many other starts in his career, including for the Steelers. And Myles Garrett almost turned out his lights with a swing to the head with a helmet. Luckily for Santa, that didn't happen.
Oh, gosh. I think that's Mason Rudolph, isn't it?
It is.
It is Rudolph. Yes, it is Mason Rudolph from Oklahoma State, maybe the favorite athlete ever of Mick Schaefer, I think. I'm making that up, but,
Could be, though. It's possible.
As far as you know, it's his favorite athlete. Charles, will put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Winner, Johnny's Tavern Dinner.
Yeah,
yes, sir. That's
we
right.
go.
And you know, it could be drinks, too. Could be drinks while you're there, Johnny's. 913-381-0810 is the phone number, 913-381-0810. Who is up next, Sterling? I think
We
it's Jay.
have
but,
Jay up
That's
next.
right, yes. Nailed it. Yeah, nailed it. Jay, welcome in Sports or Leisure. I forgot I wrote the names down, Sterling. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'll just keep doing it. It's easier for me. I can look at them right here.
It's all good. Jay, next up, Sports or Leisure. Jay, what side do you want to start with, brother?
Let's start with leisure.
All right. Do you want Christmas vacation stories, ho-ho holidays, or riddles?
We'll do Christmas vacation.
All right. Why can't Cousin Eddie sled down the hill with Clark?
Because he's got a government plastic plate in his head.
Yes, he does, baby.
See over here, nothing is fine. But if this side gets my hairline is just not going to look right. Okay.
Watched that movie last night, so that was
yes.
That was easy for you. There you go.
Category.
As you should. My wife, there's 2 movies we watch every single Christmas break, and that is Christmas Vacation and 4 Christmases. We have to watch both of them. All right, on to the leisure or the sports side. We've got general NFL, and we have holiday names.
I'll go with holiday names.
Okay, very good. This cornerback was drafted in the 2nd round by the Detroit Lions and now has played for 11 years in the NFL, currently with the Eagles. Viewed for a while as one of the best corners in the league, he was on the field, but not the cornerback who held Juju in the Super Bowl. Santa holds on while writing this as he delivers presents across the world.
Ah, nice.
That is Darius Slay.
Yeah, that's right, Darius Slay. Well done. How'd you get that one? Well,
Jason, you didn't need the last thing. The last thing was the giveaway. That was the present.
It's a Christmas name, though. That's right. He delivers them. I'm delivering them, too. Look, Jay, it didn't mean that Jay knew. He knew Darius Slay. He's a smart man, Jay is. We've known
Jay
that for a while.
knew Darius Slay. Well, they go by the bay
See?
and eat some hay. What do you say? He just may.
We just may. That's right. See, Sterling, you and I talk about the smarts of Jay all the time, man. It's crazy. Jay will put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. There's winner number 2, 913-381-0810. See, it's just that easy, You really didn't think I needed they would have got Darius Slay without the...
Yeah, if you just would have said Lions, former Lions cornerback who's now with the Eagles in his Christmas names, it's Darius Slay.
Okay. That's fine. But, it's, as Mick calls it, everybody wins.
That's true.
So,
everybody wins.
In the Christmas spirit.
Most people win.
The game. The game we call Everybody Wins. All right, 913-381-0810. You know what, Sterling? I'll let you roll. Who's up next?
Avery.
What's
Hello.
up, Avery? Sports or leisure, brother?
What's that ho-ho holidays category?
So we have Christmas Vacation, Ho-Ho Holidays, which is just I will give a summary of a holiday movie, and you gotta get it.
I'll do that.
Oh, of course, you're taking the easy way out, like I said. Man,
Hey, work smarter, not harder. Yeah, come on, man.
All right. Someone tries to save his estranged wife and several others taken hostage by terrorists during a Christmas party at the Nakatomi Plaza in L.A.
Really? Just tell him the name of the movie next time.
You had a guy wait 15 minutes trying to say Die Hard, and he guessed like Home Alone at the end, like 2 weeks
That's
ago.
right.
It was painful.
That's exactly
you guys
right,
are giving him
yes.
everything. You're like Balls,
Yes.
co-star, actually a second one because Reginald Bell Johnson, and he's like,
My
yippee-ki-yay,
brother-
Home Alone.
Oh, I
I'll
forgot
say Die
about
Hard.
that. Yeah, that was last
Last
week.
Thursday,
Yeah.
my brother texted me, was like, how did that guy not get Die Hard? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. No idea.
Avery, I feel like you should have gone with the different one. That just feels cheap. But
No,
all right,
why
that's
should-
fine,
maybe
Avery.
you should have gone with the different one to Avery. Maybe you shouldn't have given him the easy one.
Well,
You know?
they're all-
Damn, you gave him the easy one.
Oh, pretty easy.
That's the easy way out. That's fine. Avery, on to the sports side, sir. We've got the holiday Christmas names, and we have general NFL.
Do holiday Christmas names.
Okay. A one-and-done player at Kentucky. He came in following Anthony
Nerlens
Davis.
Noel.
His year was cut short, suffering an ACL injury at Florida. An elite jumper and shot blocker in college, never materialized to consistency in the NBA level. He was the 6th overall pick, but many people, including Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, have sung about this being the first. You say?
I'll say Nerlens Noel.
Oh, that's correct. Well done. Well done. I didn't know if you were going to get that right or not.
Enos
Well done.
Kanter.
It's actually
Cancer, well
it's
done.
actually Enos Freedom now. Okay, so
Nice job. Enes Kanter. How about that poll? Well done. Nerlens Noel. That is correct. I just wanted to get to the last part to where he was taken 6th, but people sing about him being first.
I
It
have
took me a long time to think of that, Avery. A long time, let me tell you. I mean, goodness.
a wild
gracious.
thing here. I have 2 signed Nerlens Noel jerseys, like
Because he was a Sixer?
because he was a Sixer. That was the guy when he went there, and everyone's like, "Oh, Nerlens Noel, Jahlil
Shot blocker.
Okafor," and then you were
Elite
like,
shot blocker.
"Huh."
Yeah.
I was at
Yeah.
a bar with him one time.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Well done. Avery, thank you, man. We'll put you on hold, and you get a conversation with Dylan for Christmas.
Oh,
So
jealous.
how about that? Right? I mean, I want to talk to Dylan. Man, you know, first night of Hanukkah, you get Dylan. Come on, man. That's great.
Sarcasm.
No, that is absolutely not sarcasm, Dylan. That is absolutely true. It's 100%. That is literally true. Okay? Literally true. Literally.
Next guy up. What I'll do?
Oh, okay.
I want to see if you can guess. I'll riddle you and see if you can guess who it is. You take your driver onto this when you hit your original shot when you play golf.
Oh, that's T-Box.
That's T-Box,
hanging out
baby.
with us. Yeah, that's T-Box hanging out with us. T-Box, what's up, brother? Sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Happy holidays, guys.
Absolutely, to you too,
I'll
brother.
try one of the Christmas names as long as they're as easy as the last 3.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go with. Let's see. All right, let's go with this one. He played 15 years in the majors, and now his son is taking over the family job. He may be best known for his time at the Cardinals, but burst onto the scene with the Rockies as a 27-year-old, finishing 2nd in the MVP voting.
Oh, Dante Bichette?
No, it's got to be. No, it's got to be.
No.
It's got to be a name that is.
So
with the Rock, that was that Rockies team a little bit earlier. This Rockies team later on.
Yeah, Dante
'cause he went to-
Alighieri also. You could have said him maybe. You know,
he went. This guy helped the Rockies get to the World Series when he finished 2nd in MVP voting that year. Messed up his
Man, I
chin
got
sliding
no-
into home too.
I got no clue.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he played for the Cardinals at one point, didn't he? As
That's
well.
exactly right.
Yeah.
No, his time is probably best known for his time with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And now his son is taking over the family business.
Yep.
Former number 1
Son's
pick.
playing in the major leagues.
Correct.
Man.
For the
I
Orioles.
Oh, I should at least know that.
T-Box, you should
got
get this
nothing.
one. You should get this one. He
Maybe.
played with Troy Tulowitzki.
He did. And then he played
I
with the
know.
Cardinals.
That's
Now
just
his
that's
son's the
the
number
time
1
when
pick.
I wasn't paying attention to baseball.
Yeah. His son was the number 1 pick in the draft a few years ago.
What the hell's their catcher's name?
It's not him.
No, it's not him.
Ain't him. It's not him, that's for sure.
Dan. Yeah, my bad. I'll leave that out there. Somebody will know it for sure. So, Merry Christmas to whoever gets this one. Thanks, you guys.
Box, you're the man. Appreciate Box.
you. That's
Very
great.
good. Yeah, 913. See, and that's I thought that was an easy one, like the previous 3. I actually thought Nerlens Noel was the most difficult one. That's why I gave it to Avery.
What was
so
I like doing this, Jason. I'll give you the riddle of the guy's name who's going to come on. Okay, that seems more
Okay.
fun. Okay,
I like this.
this guy's first name or his last name is Jingleheimer Schmidt.
So it's either John or Jacob.
It's John.
I'm going to go with John.
Yeah, it's John.
So, it's, like the ladies of the night, I'll go with John.
John is your
he's
last
next up.
name? Is his last name is your last name Jingleheimer Schmidt? Have we established that yet?
You got it exactly.
Wow, how about that?
I knew it.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Do you want to do the sports side or the leisure side, John?
Let's do the leisure side.
We have Christmas Vacation, we have riddles, and we have ho 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 holiday movies.
Let's do the ho 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 holiday movie.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we will. All right. Oh, I love this movie. This is a holiday movie. It doesn't have to be Christmas, but it's a holiday movie. A Chicago advertising man must struggle to travel home from New York for Thanksgiving with a lovable oaf of a shower curtain ring salesman as his only companion.
Well, that would be Give Me Four Wheels, and I would like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
A bleeping, you know what? You're bleeped. I've always said, and I still think this, that while they play A Christmas Story on repeat every Christmas day, right, I think Planes, Trains, and Automobiles should be played all day on Thanksgiving. What? It's a Thanksgiving movie, and it's a classic. Why don't they play that one on repeat all day?
Agreed.
It's one of the how many Thanksgiving movies do we say this is a Christmas movie? This is a Thanksgiving movie. How many different movies do we specifically associate with Thanksgiving? That's one of them. Should play that all day, man. Come on, let's get it together. John, on the sports side, we've got these different Christmas names. We have also general NFL.
As much as I would love to do the Christmas names, I have no idea what that Christmas name is that's out there. So I will do general NFL.
Okay, let's go with this one. Lamar Jackson had his fifth game of it, not yesterday, but 4 days ago. Lamar Jackson had his fifth game of at least 5 touchdown passes and no interceptions. There are only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history with more than Lamar Jackson's 5, by the way. Mahomes isn't one of them, just so you don't guess that one. But name either of the quarterbacks with more than Jackson 5. How about that? Then Lamar Jackson's 5 games of 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Both of them have 8 in their career.
The Dan Marino. Might
Dan
be
Marino.
was, I think, out loud.
That wasn't his
Dan
final
Marino
answer. It's
did not.
Christmas. It's
Oh, is
Christmas,
that right? Is
Jason.
that right?
He wasn't.
Is that right, Sterling? Okay, yeah, it wasn't his final answer.
It's always
he
Christmas.
was just thinking.
It's yeah.
He was thinking out loud.
He's thinking
We
out
are
loud.
we are Christmas on this game for sure.
That's you're damn right.
It's the first day of Hanukkah. Come on, guys. We're generous.
There you go. We give 8 guesses. No, we don't. I almost.
That's the debating Peyton Manning, perhaps. Let's do that. I won't.
No,
I won't
it wasn't.
too many.
Yeah, John, it was not Peyton Manning either. It was not Peyton or debating Manning. But thank you for playing, man. Happy holidays to you and yours, brother.
You too.
Jason's acting like hating
Absolutely.
Manning over there. Am I right?
I gave him we gave him an extra one, right? And we went Dan Marino and Peyton Manning. Those are not bad guesses. It's just neither one of them are correct. I know what you did there. I liked it. It was fine. I just didn't want people to think that I was hating Manning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
You want me to do another riddle for you?
Who is up? Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Last name Jones. This center fielder is up for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Andrew.
Yes, spelled differently, I think. But Andrew, you're on.
Oh.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely, man. Sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with, Andrew?
Let's go leisure.
All right. Do you want ho-ho holiday movies? Do you want Christmas Vacation movie where you have to little more intricate there, a question about that movie, or riddles?
Let's go Christmas Vacation.
Okay, Christmas Vacation. Look, see, this is someone who wants it. He wants it. How much money did the grandma offer Rusty and Audrey to rub her feet?
A whole quarter.
A whole quarter. Nailed
I'll
it.
give Audrey a quarter, too. That's right. Hear that, Audrey? All right,
Half
on to
of
the
that is
sports
from
side.
me. That's a mixture of movies.
Got, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I meant to cut my mic there as I coughed. All right, so we got the sports side. We got Christmas names, and we have general NFL. Andrew, what are you thinking?
Let's try Christmas names.
All right. We got one out there already if you want to try that one, or we have a couple of fresh ones.
Let's do a fresh one.
All right, very good. Drafted out of Michigan State in the first round by the Chiefs. This player never lived up to the hope, breaking his ankle in preseason before his second year and never fully recovering. People dream of this when they want a white Christmas. Chiefs were dreaming of getting more than 2 years from this first-round pick.
Man.
I'll always think of Rosedale's when I think of this man, because we played Sports or Leisure that day, and we had a guy say, you don't have any questions about this guy, do you? And I said, I don't think so. And then I gave him a question specifically about that guy, and he didn't get it right.
That's a really funny,
It was this guy.
funny time. Very
This guy.
funny time, yeah.
Yeah, I think we were at Rosedale's the other day.
We were Rosedale.
It was a good day.
Now I want
Man.
Rosedale.
Like to get
I'm
some
not
Rosedale
sure.
in my belly right now.
I'm not sure, guys. Thank
Well,
you.
Andrew, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. Good luck on the Hall of Fame, man. I'm pulling for you. I think you're deserving. I do. I think he's
I think
deserving.
Andrew
the guy
Jones is
he hit a home
deserving.
run. He hit a home run at like 15 years old in the World Series. That's pretty good, right? I'm not the Hall of Fame debate. I'm not debating Manning when it comes to the Hall of Fame stuff. People are like, whatever. Put in Bonds and Clemens and all of them as well. All right, who is up next, sir?
Up next, we have Bagwell, Jeff Bagwell.
Okay, well, you just gave it away?
I just gave it away. It's
I'll
Jeff
go
Bagwell.
Jeff, then.
I just like going with baseball names right now. I'm in that mindset. Jeff Bagwell's up.
Great. Let's do that. Jeff, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Well, let's start with sports if it was Percy Snow.
That's right. Drafted out of Michigan State in the first round by the Chiefs. He never lived up to the hope, breaking his ankle in preseason, by the way, on a scooter. Never fully recovering. People dream of this when they want a white Christmas. Chiefs were dreaming of getting more than 2 years from this linebacker. Who do you think it is?
Percy Snow.
That's right. It is Percy Snow. On to the leisure side with Sterling.
We have Ho
Wow,
Ho.
it's so easy on me now.
All right. Do you want Ho Ho Holidays? Do you want Riddles? Or do you want Christmas Vacation, which is just intricate parts of that movie?
Let's go ho 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 holidays.
Okay. I love this movie. Raised as an oversized blank, Buddy travels from the North Pole to New York City to meet his biological father, Walter Hobbs, who doesn't know he exists and is in desperate need of some Christmas spirit.
Thanks
Boy,
for-
that's true.
Thanks for putting the blank in there.
You're welcome. Yeah. He is in
Right,
need of
I mean,
some
you don't wanna
Christmas
give
spirit.
away the
Walter
movie.
Hobbs needed some
Bye,
Christmas
buddy.
spirit.
Hope you find your dad.
That's the narwhal.
Is it Elf?
Bye, buddy.
It is Elf. You nailed it.
So I was driving past a house and they have all those animals like in their yard as yard ornaments, like
Really?
the
Electric.
It's
That's
I
awesome.
want you guys
awesome.
to know this is like the 7th time I've done this. I finally won.
See, I told you, Jeff, I was going to
Finally,
take it
see, there we
easy on
go,
you.
Jeff.
You were the guy that kept getting the
I
bourbon
did.
questions, right? You kept getting the bourbon ones at one point.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that, Jeff.
Oh my God, you
That's right.
remember that? The Kentucky and Tennessee bourbon.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, Jeff. That's a throwback.
Awesome. You won, though. See, stick-to-itiveness. All right, there's the holiday spirit. If you fall off the horse on sports or leisure, get back up. Try it again. $25
right.
heading your way, Jeff. We'll put you on hold and get your information, sir.
All right, Merry Christmas.
And to you as well. 913-381-0810. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Plenty more where that came from with $25 to Johnny's Tavern, playing some sports or leisure on this Thursday edition of the show. A couple of sports questions out there available for someone to call in and request. And we got those leisure questions as well with Sterling. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. smartest decision there in the break that I made. Oh my God!
What'd you do?
So I forgot that they have lunch. Well, they have lunch every day here. That's one of the things that I forgot. They have different restaurants to drop off food, and so because it's 2:30 here, everything's been picked through. It was BW3s that dropped off, Buffalo Wild Wings, and I'm hungry. And the only thing they had left was the medium or the hot buffalo sauce, and with a cold, that wasn't the best decision for my throat. So that was not smart. But I was hungry. Okay,
Oh,
that's
dude, I
that's
got
a rough
hot
one. Plus,
sauce.
my nose is already runny. That was not a good idea.
Dude, I got a hot sauce story for you if you need to hear it to calm you down a little bit.
Sure. Let's go it. Let's go it. See, I'm already I'm disheveled.
I see you, Tim.
Man.
Tim, you'll be on in 1 second. And Ronnie, I just had to tell Jason this because it's apt. So my dad, I got him hot sauce last year's ghost pepper sauce, really, really hot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a paste, and he's had it the entire year. And so I was staying at my parents' place for for Christmas and everything, and I got this Indian frozen food from Trader Joe's. I thought, let's spice this bad boy up a little bit here. Oh, no. I realized he had barely used it. I'm like, oh, there's a lot left. You must not really like it. Let me put it on here. I put like 8 lines of it, mixed it all in. I'm talking like an eighth of it, of this ghost pepper stuff. My dad goes, oh, no, I like that a lot. I've been using it. You only use like a dab. I was crying, sweating. It was an absolute and utter disaster. I was so hungry. I still ate half of it. I just shoveled it all in my mouth.
Oh, you got to throw that away.
Yeah, I should have, but I was so hungry, so I ate half of it before I physically could not because my body was leaking tears. My wife was just staring at me like, you are an idiot. I don't want to hear you complain about stomach issues later. And I'm like, sorry, you'll have no choice. You're going to hear about it either way. It was one of the worst decisions I've made.
I am picturing Ben Stiller and Along Came Polly on the date that they had.
That's exactly what I was thinking of as well.
Pretty
actually.
close. So everyone
Very
out there,
close.
ghost peppers are extremely hot. Use a dab. Don't cover your entire food.
I think everybody out there knows. You might be the only one that didn't know.
Well, I love hot stuff. Like typically hot stuff doesn't bother me.
Are we close to Jim Abbott here? I mean, how close are we to Jim Abbott?
No, it's pretty close.
Well, I knew ghost peppers were hot, but I'm used to ghost pepper. Like I'm used to hot stuff. This was this was just dumb.
Oh, man.
So don't worry, Jason. We've been there before. When you're hungry, you're hungry. You'll eat anything hot.
Right. I was starving, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. They got food. I'm like, oh, there's some. Nope. Okay. Nope. That's all gone. All right. Well, you know what? A little hot. That's fine. I can deal with it. And then I forgot that, my throat isn't exactly, you know what, as Jack said, Sterling, I don't have the throat coat that you use. Who's up next?
Mark
for
that.
Sports or Leisure,
Dylan, are you
$25?
serious? Why is I'm
No,
always
that was
getting
what Jack said.
Tim.
That was what Jack said.
Timbo.
I'm repeating what Jack said. That's not.
I'm gonna have to
Mark-worthy,
clip
Sterling.
off the part where he says, "Like Jack said," then he says it.
Sorry. Well, Jack's off today.
Oh, Sterling.
Stop it, Sterling. That is just a little bit too far. Okay, let's bring in somebody. Let's get back to playing Sports or Leisure, please.
Got Tim up next on the line.
Okay, great. Tim is up next. Tama. Sports or Leisure, Tim. What side would you like to start with?
Let's go leisure and go ahead. What are the options? I forgot already.
We have ho-ho.
Tim's even flustered.
We have ho-ho holiday movies. We have Christmas Vacation, which is just intricate parts about the movie Christmas Vacation and riddles.
Let's do Christmas Vacation.
All right, Christmas Vacation. Let me pull those back up. All right, here we go. Name one of the 2 things that Aunt Bethany wrapped up that weren't supposed to be presents.
Both. Come on.
The cat.
Her cat.
Both.
Yes. Well, the other one's hard. You got.
No, it's not hard. What's the other one? Tim, what else did she wrap up?
Ooh, darn.
See, that's
Sterling?
why I told you, Jason. This is called Most People Win,
This
and
one's
it's the holiday
this one's-
season.
This one's leaking. It's lime.
Oh.
That would be her. It's lime.
It jiggles.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. I mean, you said only name one. That's fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
because it's the holiday
It's the
season.
Jello mold. It's the Jello mold. She wrapped up her Jello mold.
Yeah,
on
the
accident.
lime green.
It's lime. You know, because this one's leaking, and Cousin Eddie, of course, comes over and just tastes it. Like, lime. That would be her Jello mold. All right, on to the sports side. We've got Christmas names, and we have general NFL questions. We have a couple of questions already out there. One in the Christmas names and one in the general NFL, and we have fresh ones too.
Let's go general NFL.
All right, a fresh one?
I haven't really been listening, so they're all going to be fresh.
I love that. You know what? I'll do this one because I can help you eliminate some because it's already been guessed today. It just hadn't been answered. Lamar Jackson had his 5th game of at least 5 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. There are only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history with more than Lamar Jackson's 5. Name either. Now, earlier in the show, already guessed is Dan Marino and Peyton Manning, so they have been eliminated. So name either of the quarterbacks that have more than Lamar Jackson's 5 games in his career of 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Both these quarterbacks had 8. No Dan Marino, no Peyton Manning. Name either of the other 2.
So there's 2.
There's 2, and you can name either one of them.
I don't want to go with the guy no one likes, so maybe, well, is perhaps a former Chief on that list?
No.
Oh.
Okay. You know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Not to the Sun, but to,
Yep, nope, not him.
Okay. I'll go with Brady.
Tom Brady is correct. He is one of them. The other one was Jello mold, actually, which is crazy to think about. No, it was Drew Brees. Drew Brees and Tom Brady both with 8. And Lamar Jackson already with 5. So he's right
Warren
there.
must have had a half dozen, though, I bet.
I'm not sure how many. The only one, it's 8, and then Lamar Jackson's 5. I'm not sure how many Warren ended up having. I can look it up here in the next break, but that's a winner, right?
That's a winner.
Awesome.
That's right.
Oh,
So
by
the
the
cat
way,
and Jello mold. That's right.
Do I also get to be in the Hall of Fame for the Hall of Shame for that Home Alone instead of Die Hard?
Oh, that was you.
That's pretty good, Tim.
That
yeah.
was me.
How bad do you
Justice
feel about
reserved. I was
yourself?
humiliated publicly. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. How bad do you feel about yourself for not getting Die Hard? I mean, let's be honest.
I'm more of a Con Air sort of guy. Sorry.
Yes, I love that. That is fantastic. That's great. We will put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Yes,
Merry
and
Christmas
to you as well. 913-3 Con Air. How about that? 913-3-810-810. I gotta get home to my daughter. It's such a terrible accent. He's got such a bad accent in that movie.
Next guy up, I'll give you last name Dio.
I don't want to miss my daughter's birthday. Sorry, sports or leisure?
It's Ronnie James Dio up next. Ronnie James Dio. Ronnie.
So we got
Ronnie's-
no Royals, no Chiefs.
No Royals, no Chiefs. Ronnie, sports or leisure,
Okay.
man?
Let's just go ahead and go with whatever the easiest one left is of any of the categories. Now,
Easiest
do
one of the
holidays.
categories. Okay, that's
I don't know,
useful.
unless the Christmas vacations you feel are a better route. I don't. I
The
haven't watched
baseball one I thought
so.
was easy, but I'll go with the ho 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 holidays for you.
All right.
On Christmas Eve, a young boy embarks bravery and the spirit of Christmas.
That could be anything.
Well, it's on a magical journey. It's animated to the North Pole.
No, it's not Ted.
It's
No,
not.
I'm going to say, I don't know, Polar Express.
Yes,
That's
nailed it. You're good. Polar Express.
Nice
yeah.
job.
Okay.
Nice job. Very
What's
well
hard to
even
say?
watched it.
It's hard to say that you've never watched it either.
No,
Actually,
it's very overrated. No reason
It's
to watch
awful every time I try it.
it. Yeah, dude, it's no reason to watch it.
could never get through it all. I think
Don't subject your kids to that either.
How long is it? An hour
Too
40,
long.
and it felt like it was like
It's an hour
2.5.
and 40 minutes too
I
long.
watched like 20
All
minutes
right,
and get
well,
out.
we survived that tripwire. I guess NFL questions.
All right, NFL question for you. Let's see. Jaden Daniels passed 3,000 yards and 500 yards rushing this year as a rookie. So 3,000 passing yards, 500 rushing yards as a rookie. Jaden Daniels has done that. He's the fourth rookie quarterback to do that. The three quarterbacks previous to him all ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Can you name two of the three rookie quarterbacks to surpass 3,000 yards passing and 500 yards rushing in one
So
season?
that means
in their
they
rookie.
started as a rookie.
Yep. They would have
Okay.
to start as a rook.
Trying to think if I think Cam went right in. I just don't know what his passing yards were. Then I don't know if Mike Vick had. I think
Michael
Vick
Vick
went
did.
right in.
Michael Vick did not really start his rookie year. Just as
Oh, he didn't.
No.
Okay,
He
fair enough.
personally
Thank
his
you for-
second year is when he went crazy, but he also didn't pass for
Okay.
3,000 yards. So, but that's fine. What I'm saying is, it's not Mike Vick.
Yeah. No, I got you. And then Aaron Rodgers definitely didn't start his rookie year. I don't know if he had that many. I'm just gonna go with I guess Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is one of them. One of the other.
Oh, wait, I got to do
one
multiple.
of the three. Yeah, two of the three. We'll
I
see.
got to get
We'll
two of the
see.
three.
Yeah, we'll see if you can get it. We can be a little lenient because Sterling is
Okay,
judging me. Apparently.
All right. Can I get a clue on the era? Like, is this like Dick Vermeil
you know what?
era? Is this
No, it's
Todd
both.
Haley?
Both more recent than that. One is still playing, currently on his team that drafted him, and another one is a story of what might have been if, and still a younger guy. What might have been if not for an injury. RG3, that is correct. The third one is Kyler
Who was
Murray.
the third?
Kyler Murray.
I didn't think he had the passing yards.
I didn't
Wouldn't
think
have
he
guessed
did
him.
either his rookie year. I wouldn't have guessed him either. But Jaden Daniels, Cam Newton, RG3, Kyler Murray are the answers there. And that's a winner, right? How about that?
I'll take it.
All right. Yes, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Appreciate it. All right, 913-382-8. So flustered with that the hot sauce. Hot sauce in my bag.
That's kind of on us.
Hot sauce in my bag.
Quite frankly.
No, it's on me. It's totally on me. I'm sweating now. This is dumb. All right, who is up next?
No one. Dylan decided to exit out because Dylan was tired of talking to people. I think he hit his quota.
But you know what? We can take a break right now.
There's
See if we
time
can fit
constraints also, you know.
There's no time constraints.
Let's do this. Let's take a break right now. If we get another contestant that wants to play, that's perfectly fine. If not, I can eat these hot wings on the air live. I mean, we can do that.
Keep
too.
it X'd out, Dylan. No more callers. I want to watch him and hear him.
You can't watch me.
No, you're gonna
You can only
FaceTime
hear.
us, and
Nope, not
it's
gonna
gonna be
happen.
electric.
Not going to happen. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
All right, 4 minutes.
I didn't say it was bad news. Good
No,
news.
you don't just say you got to have bad news then good news.
I didn't say bad news, good news. What do you want first? I just said bad news.
I don't care what you said. That's how the game works.
This is no
It's
game.
not
This
bad
is life,
news,
man.
bad news. It's bad news, good news. We know this.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I guess it was bad news. Bad news. I apologize. It was two bad news. It's a bad news Bears. Let's see the question that we did not get an answer to for sports.
Matt
on the sports
Holliday.
side. That is correct. Matt Holliday played 15 years in the majors, and his son has taken over the family business. Best known for his time with the Cardinals, but burst onto the scene with the Rockies as a 27-year-old, finishing second in MVP voting and helping him get to the World Series with a scraped-up chin because he did a faceplant on a slide at home. That was in the National League Championship Series, I believe. So then he had that burn on his chin. So there you go. The other ones we all got answers to. With the Jaden Daniels question and then the Lamar Jackson question. Anything on the leisure side we did not get an answer to?
No, because once they stopped going to Christmas vacation, my ho-ho holidays was pretty easy. It seemed like so. I never got to 8 crazy nights. I wanted to get 8 crazy nights, for Hanukkah.
Well, you could have done it next week. So I mean, Hanukkah will still be going on, but whatever.
I guess we can still do it. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now you know. Now everybody else does as well. By the way, did you see have you watched the Amazon Prime Chiefsaholic documentary?
No, I have not. Have you?
I did. I watched it only for my job. And I promise you that, hand to God. I did not want to watch it. I didn't want any part of watching it. I thought it was dumb when I found out they were having it. But for my job, I'm like, all right, let me watch it and see what this thing's about. And you know what? I came away with the fact that I think people got a better view of who the person that Xavier Babidar is and why I'm not shedding a tear that the dude is serving almost 20 years in prison. He was a habitual bank robber, and he threatened people's lives. The bank that he ultimately got caught robbing down in Oklahoma, that bank teller had continual nightmares, quit her job, can't go into a bank. She's had PTSD from, a guy pointing a gun at her head and telling her that he would kill her, telling her to go to the vault and the codes to the vault. She didn't have the codes to the vault. Her manager had the codes to the vault. It was just them two in the back. He's telling the manager, unlock the vault or I'll kill you. And she says, well, he's not going to kill her because she knows the codes. I don't. So I'll be the one that's killed. I got 2 young kids, and now I'm thinking in my life right away that my kids are going to grow up without a mom. I don't know what this guy's going to do. Like, he terrorized people while robbing a bank, and people thought it was just fun and games, and, this is a hilarious Chiefsaholic. And let me just say, they interviewed a lot of super fans, a lot of Chiefs super fans and other things like that. And there were a couple of them, and I apologize to her. I don't know her name. It was like Cat Follow or something like that. She had the Chiefs van. I liked her a lot because she was like, yeah, don't care about him. There was a girl from Pittsburgh, a lady from Pittsburgh, and I could not I was offended by the things she was saying about Chiefsaholic. He's almost like a god to Chiefs Kingdom. Since he's been gone, there's something missing in the Chiefs fans. Chiefs Kingdom, something's missing. I'm like, you are a mother bleeping loser. Don't put me, like, the Chiefs Kingdom in the category of frickin' Chiefsaholic. Yeah, and by the way, the Twitter account, how about those Chiefs? I follow them. Good for you, dude. Good for you. I came away with the most respect for him. It's at HBT Chiefs. Because he said, nobody wants Chiefsaholic back in Chiefs Kingdom. Go to prison. Go away. We don't care about you. We don't want you back. Look what you did. This is who you are. Stay away. Nobody wants you in Chiefs Kingdom. Nobody claims you. Go away. I'm like, thank you. Thank you, dude. Thank you. So hat tip to at HBT Chiefs. He was interviewed in part of it as well. Because that's the take. It's not he's almost like a god. Well, then you need to get a life. God, that pissed me off. Like, just like, I would watch it because it gives you a better idea of the people that he hurt. Okay? This guy stole from banks over $800,000. His mom and brother are living in a car. And we're living in a car that whole time. This dude is out making $80,000 bets, $40,000 bets, talking about I'm doing this for my family. They're living in a car, and you stole over $800,000 from banks. Don't tell me what you're doing it for. F that guy. Enjoy prison, man.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
I'll
I mean,
second that.
third.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can watch it and check it out if you want to, or just there's my review. You know what? Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. We'll talk to you tomorrow.